Very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Welcome to night 4 of week 7 of term 1 for 2024, season 16 for the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and welcome to the Circuit de la Sarthe. Yep. The votes have been cast and counted. Sebring was given the punt, as was Daytona, and we are going to the home of the twice around the clock annual sports car classic that is a staple on the Australian and World Motorsport calendar on the third weekend of June for Spreyton Cider Formula V, in an affair that will be distinctly shorter and distinctly slower than the sports car classic. Good evening, everybody. Zach Caban alongside Daniel Carrier-Sar. Sam Chapman's here as well for in-race comments along the Mulsanne Straight, because once he hits top gear, he's got nothing really to do for a good kilometre or so. And in these little things, that'll take a little while to roll through. This is week 7. This is the first of 2 mystery jackpot rounds, really, if I'm perfectly honest, because there's another driver's vote circuit coming up, another TBR in the calendar in a couple of weeks. There's the circuit for you. We're at 10 o'clock in the morning. Time is frozen on 2 minutes past 10. I'm not entirely sure why, but March 7, 2024, 3 kilometre an hour winds, partly cloudy conditions, 26 degrees on track, and that is also the ambient temperature as well. 3 kilometre an hour winds, which will make bugger all difference in these cars. It's important to note. Let's have a look at the championship standings as we venture into this round. We'll have cars on the grid in about a minute and a half here. Some big heavyweight hot shots in this field tonight, ladies and gentlemen, before we get stuck into the race. John Merritt, Sam Chapman, Jared Knight, Adam Lavis, they're all here. Pete Matson's having a run too. And down the order, you got Adam Proctor, Joe Baldwin and Justin Cotter. So Adam Lavis is 5th in the train at the moment, and I was a little bit worried that he might not get a lap in after he was talking to us in the broadcast booth here about 5 minutes into qualifying, and it's a 5-minute out lap followed by a 5-minute racing lap. John Merritt leads the championship, 7 points the margin to Adam Lavis. Sam Chapman 378, 331 for Phil King. Tony Baker 300 and 268 for Kevin Henderson. Matt Schmidtke 241, 209 for Brendan Nealon. Sean McKenzie 206 and 192 for Pete Matson makes up the top 10. We are ready to fire. Drop rounds come into effect, come into play after tonight, and we're excited about that as Phil King makes his way up towards turn number 2. Hey, Chubbo, good evening to you. Tight tussle at the top of the championship fight at the moment. We're looking forward to how this might play out. You're only 69 points off John Merritt. Can you make any inroads on him tonight? He's got to hit his push to talk if he's going to have a chat to us, to Sam Chapman, but I don't think I can get to him at this point. So we'll get back to him once he hits the Mulsanne. So the numbers are pretty simple tonight, folks. It's a 3-race sprint format as per usual. Invert of the top 10 for the second race, which around here I don't think will make a rat's you know what of difference whatsoever. But more to the point, with it being a 5.5 minute lap time, the numbers are pretty simple. It'll be 2 laps for race 1, it'll be 3 laps for 2 and 3, and please, heaven help us, let's not have a safety car deployed. John Merritt, Sam Chapman the front row, Garen Batten and Jared Knight the second row, Adam Lavis and Joe Baldwin the third row, Pete Matson, Brian Bullock the fourth row, Matt Schmidtke, Phil King the fifth. Michael Ladder, Greg Padgett from row 6, Stephen Heaton, Daniel Partner from 7, Adam Proctor, Justin Cotter from 8 and Wayne Visser from 9. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first of many weeks this year where we will be up against both the AFL and the NRL competing for viewing numbers and ratings. And we encourage you, as per usual, to set up your sports bar, set up your entertainment system as best you can. Put the AFL on one screen, the NRL on the other. Keep an eye on us, even if you've got to mute the AFL and the NRL. Keep an eye on what's going on here. You might even have the live timing up. Many different ways to stay across it all. I'll go around the grounds for you shortly, but yes, the footy is back. AFL and NRL. It's all in New South Wales tonight. Updates throughout the course of the evening. We've had a nice couple of weeks where we've had all the eyeballs, all the attention, all the focus on us. Now we're competing with the big streamlined national winter sports once more. So, as I say, sports bar setup, AFL one screen, us the second, and NRL the third. But the volume on this, because you don't want to miss this. This is an historic race for so many reasons. The V's are going to be cut loose on the Mulsanne. Underway at the Circuit de la Sarthe, and they rip and tear as they're let loose on the run up towards turn one for the first time. A magnificent start from Sam Chapman. Got the whole shot on John Merritt. Adam Lavis tucks into third spot. Joe Baldwin is fourth, and Garen Batten has been swamped and drops back to fifth. Make it sixth now as Jared Knight squeezes up Tronny's inside. Great start from Joe Baldwin. Late lap in the qualifying piece there. Got him up 2 spots. Round goes Matt Schmidtke. Matt Schmidtke's gone round. And that's made a rod for he's back for the rest of this opening race. You do not want to have an early race incident here. You don't want to lose the toe. You don't want to lose the train. It makes it a very long, lonely run from there if you do. 2 laps. That's all it is. And look at them already. They know the importance of latching onto Sam Chapman and John Merritt and going for it. Off goes Wayne Visser as well. Visser's had a moment. Hanson, Heaton and Padgett now down the back of the order with him. Let's go 3 wide. Actually, let's line up like 10-pin bowling pins down the Mulsanne for the first time. Let's go 4 wide. Can we go any wider than that? Can we get 5? Joe Baldwin fancies his chances. Has a look down the inside. Is pushing Garen Batten along at the moment. It's a fighting 7 at the front. Batten's pushed his way through to the front. Merritt goes with him. Merritt, Baldwin leaves Batten high and dry. Jared Knight's wedged in there as well. Adam Lavis is 5th. Oh, trouble. Gone.
Oh!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count them. Chapman caught up in it. Baldwin caught up in it. Jared Knight caught up in it as well. Let's have a look at this. It was lap 1, boys. Oh, wheel tangle. Joe Baldwin, John Merritt. That's what started the chain reaction. Phil King got caught up in there as well. So too Pete Matson. Matson and King on the tow rope. And unfortunately, it's gone from a race in 7 at the front to a race in 3. How quickly it can fall apart. Sam Chapman's back down the bottom of the field now with Wayne Visser. Garen Batten and John Merritt chopping and changing. Batten to the outside to get past Lavis. And Merritt down the centre. We'll get to Chapo in just a moment, get his take on that. It was a bit heated there in the opening lap. They've got to be more careful. And that Batten goes round now as well. They're dropping like flies. Survival of the fittest. There might not be anyone left by the end of the opening lap. That's 3 in pit lane now as well. Knight, Matson, King, all on pit road on the tow rope. Wow. Plenty of carnage to pick apart on the opening lap at Le Mans, and how appropriate at one of the holy grails of world motorsport that the 2 championship combatants are side by side. Merritt and Lavis. I'm not going to bother with last lap Zach this week, gentlemen, only because it's too bloody long a lap. I'm not sure last lap Zach can keep the enthusiasm going for 6 minutes. However, and there's other reasons as well. 1, the tripod's not set up, and 2, it's been a pretty rubbish type day, but I'll get to that a little bit later on. In the meantime, John Merritt and Adam Lavis lead us. Adam Proctor's there in 3rd. Brian Bullock, Garen Batten 4 and 5. And Michael Ladder is 6th. Lavis wants to lead from the front. Cotter, Piper, Schmidtke, Padgett all out on their own. Padgett's got Joe Baldwin for company. They've gapped Chapman, who's got Heaton for company. And Wayne Visser brings up the tow. Oh, geez, turn your career, so help me make sense of all of that.
Look, I'm not going to be able to do that very well because even I don't understand. There was absolute carnage, obviously, going down the Mulsanne, which is weird because they had so much room, but unfortunately, that is the nature of open-wheeled cars. Once you touch those tyres, you don't have any bodywork to help you out, and they tend to catapult. So it's unfortunate for everyone that went at the back, but if you're Adam Lavis and John Merritt, you're making a nice gap there to the rest of the field. 2.8 seconds to Proctor there in P3, and it looks like Bullock is almost the same behind him too. So It's going to be a race of two. At the front here, John Merritt leading Lavis, but I think Lavis is going to try and hang it around the outside as they come towards the Porsche curbs. And we've only got, is it going to be 2 or 3 laps here? 2.
It's only going to be 2 in this one,
yeah.
and 3 in the 15-minute races, which follow, of course. Invert of the top 10 for race 2, progressive grid for race 3, and still Merritt and Lavis. This might be Lavis's best shot. This might be his best chance. Let's bring in some driver comments now, and I'll get to Pete Martin in just a moment. He's joined us in the booth while he waits on pit lane, no doubt for the start of the next race. And Sam Chapman, to you firstly. Unlucky, you were right in the thick of it, and just a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Joe Baldwin, John Merritt. We know how much these Formula V cars hate that, and it set off a chain reaction. Have we got you there, Chapo? We might come back to Chabo because he's got his hands full with Greg Padgett and Joe Baldwin. Let me go to Pete Matson on pit lane. Unfortunately, you were an innocent bystander in all of that garbage as well.
Garbage is the appropriate word. Absolutely. Lap 1, no need for it. Anyway, ridiculous. Takes out half the field.
It certainly did.
Mr. Baldwin.
And yes, thank you, Joe, he says. The president of the club's just been thrown completely under the bus.
And backed over.
Yes, exactly. And Chapman's coming to pit lane now as well, so we'll have a chat to him from there in just a tick. Here's Justin Cotter getting it all crossed up, coming onto the main straight. He didn't even make it to the main straight. 5:44, the standing start for John Merritt. The white flag is in the air. Oh, no. Come on, Justin, you're better than that. Trying to get back onto the racetrack, drives straight over the sausage curbs and ends up getting looped again. So, wow. Can we go to you now, Chapo? He said to me pre-race that he'd set up his push to talk, and I'm not sure I can have a chat to him at this point in time. We'll stick with you, Matto. Well, I guess glass half empty, glass half full. The only way is forward in the next race.
Yeah, that's right. Just it's always the drama if I get next to Joe on the track, and I was behind Mav, so I thought I was in for a bit of a good crack.
I thought you were as well. It is such a lottery around here. You've really got to be clever with your selection as to who your dance partner and draft partner is going to be here. There's no love lost out there, but you've got to push someone along and to grab the toe to reap the reward. You've done that. And unfortunately, as you say, a little bit of car-to-car contact, Baldwin and Merritt, and that was all she wrote. In fact, to be fair, Merritt got out of that scot-free, all things considered. Would have got a little bit taily, that car, but he managed to grab it and hold it. Otherwise, but I'm not sure if there's been any, wheel alignment sort of damage done in that car-to-car contact.
Well, he's still in
Only
front,
time
right?
will tell. He's second at the moment. He's just letting Lavis drag him along at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
Down the Mulsanne. What do you make of qualifying, please, mate? Because when we have a look at your qualifying run, you're inside the top 10 and firmly so.
Yeah, I think 7th I ended up qualifying, so 5:40, which is not too bad, and certainly with a bit of draft, yeah, I would have been up there at the end. But we'll wait for the next race and then we'll kick it on, mate.
I think Jared Knight has exited the server. He's departed for the night, so the task has just become a little bit easier for you. You've got one already. When you start 17th, you'll automatically jump up to 16th. Once the race gets underway, Knight will drop back. I think he's jumped out of the server and has gone straight to Aragón for more frustration with that love-hate relationship he has with the Porsche.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. They've got rain on there tonight, is that right?
I'm not entirely sure how the server's been set up. I look forward to finding out, though. We'll get over there very shortly. Have a look at John Merritt. He's just playing games now. Adam Lavis drags him along down to the end of the back straight. Merritt to the outside, Lavis to the inside. It's all about who gets the run towards the final chicane, that final sequence of corners. And Pete, as for your own efforts, did we see you on the grid Monday night in GT3?
No.
No, it was just the supercars, wasn't it?
I did the race last night, the 86s in the rain.
Yep. How's that going for you?
Second.
Lovely. that was obviously the big news. A, just how big an update it was and how long it took iRacing to get it out to everybody. But B, most of you blokes ended up, I think, chucking a work sickie yesterday just so you could get some time familiarising yourselves, acquainting yourselves with the new Tempest rain system. What are your initial impressions of it, please?
I was super impressed, and obviously the fact that we sort of had a weather map there that said it was going to rain. I started on slicks. I started on wets, and the other guys started on slicks. So as soon as it rained, they had to go into the pits, and I just drove by them. So yeah, second by about, I don't know, probably 20 seconds to Mav. So yeah, it was good. I liked it. I thought the graphics were awesome, and the reactions of the car were sensational. So yeah, but very hard to see if you're behind someone. A lot of spray.
When you look at where we're at the moment, time's just expired. I'm easily amused tonight, folks. Have a look at the top left side of your screen. It's just catapulting between 9:59 and 10. The clock has elapsed, but iRacing's chucking a fit. The SGK timing servers chucking a teddy, the toys, the water, everything's been thrown out of the bath, and the cot. Excellent. Now, as we watch Merritt and Lavis come through here, one more comment from you in a moment, Pete Matson. Let's just call this to the line. We're only a tenth of a lap away now. We're in the closing stages. It's Merritt, it's Lavis, and Merritt's got this one potentially. He's got 2 car lengths. That might be good enough. He'll defend the inside. Lavis will maybe have a crack around the outside. He's going to have to go deep under brakes and hold it through the chicane, side by side through the chicane. Have a look at this. Merritt's got it. Merritt's got Lavis covered off. That's enough. That's job done. He just needs to get it through the last corner cleanly. Does that. John Merritt 1 from 1 at Le Mans and 4 on the trot.
Oh,
whoa,
Batten.
the bell the third.
Oh, no.
Batten and also Proctor in the wall.
He's
Brian Bullock comes through and takes third.
From 18th, right? Wow.
Yeah, 10 positions gained there.
Bullock, the beneficiary of that. Batten went round, took Proctor with him, and those two limp across the line. That's great. But unfortunately, oh, hang on, what's going on there? Half the field hasn't been allowed to finish the bloody thing. That's a really strange sort of setup. Okay.
Yeah, glitch. Anyway, I'm going to grid.
It's more than a glitch, Pete. All right, mate. Thank you. We're going to have to freeze the scoring NASCAR style just to be able to allocate points there. I apologise for that, folks. Good luck, Pete. I've got another question of him later. And can I talk to Sam Chapman now? Third time lucky? No. Okay. There's the grid for race 2. We're ready to go. It's a field of 16. We'll wait and see if Jared Knight takes the grid or not. Actually, it looks like he has, so that's good news. Jared Knight has returned to the server, has joined the field at the back, and we are ready to rock and roll again at the Circuit de la Sarthe. It's 15 minutes this one. We're ready to go. Green away. Joe Baldwin with the invert top 10 had pole position. Greg Padgett, Matt Schmidtke, Daniel Piper. Garen Batten's been absolutely swamped, so too Michael Ladder. They make it to the top of the hill. Fingers crossed for a clean run this time round. Merritt, slowly but surely, just patiently working his way through, sitting 8th at the moment. He could use the slipstream to his advantage and get about 6 or 7 spots on the Mulsanne, I think, as we make our way down for the first time. The first of 3 laps here at the Circuit de la Sarthe.
Is a very interesting issue that I've got here in the broadcast box. I'm not sure if it's to do with the new iRacing patch or whether it could be something to do with SDK itself, but I cannot switch between drivers. It locks itself to a single one. The only way that I can do it is by going into iRacing and using the button shortcuts. So that's unfortunate.
That's going to throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
Okay.
In any case, we'll deal with it as best as we can.
Tech issue beyond your control, as frustrating as it may be. Josh Suno saying, well, that sucks all of them eggs. Yes, it does indeed. Have a look at that for a sight down the Mulsanne. Keep it clean this time, boys. Probably a good thing Joe Baldwin's at the front, considering he was the protagonist of the last contact. Down to the first of the chicanes. Right, left. Baldwin's gone! Baldwin's gone! And I feel as though, given his comments about 15 minutes ago, maybe 10, that Pete Natson will see that as karma. Unfortunately for El Presidente. Too hot across the curb. And it spits him out the right-hand side. Baldwin plays catch-up for the rest of the night. Back straight. Proctor takes the lead. Lavis, Merritt, Schmidtke. Schmidtke says, I want to make it 3 wide. 5 wide further back momentarily. 4 wide at the front. 4 wide. Formula V style. We've seen it before, but it's never looked as pretty as that. Merritt finds his way to the front. Oh, there goes Matt Schmidtke. And Proctor around the outside of Lavis as well. Schmidtke, Paget, Latta, gone. Oh dear. Schmidtke was having a good run too, but see, curb. Yellow and blue meets yellow and blue, and unfortunately in this instance, 2 negatives don't make a positive. Wow. That's really unfortunate. Gone and done. So, it's a race in 4 at the front. Behind that, it's a race in... Whoa, no, it's not anymore. I was going to say it's a race in 6. It's now a race in 5. Justin Cotter, round in the wall. Rejoins, but right at the back of the train. It's all of a sudden got very entertaining at the top end of town because you got a couple of irregular protagonists there. The unknown entity in that is actually Daniel Piper. So Proctor and Lavis side by side. Proctor's no stranger to the front end of the field on a semi-regular basis in Formula V. And Adam Lavis and John Merritt are there doing great things as well. But Daniel Piper is the wild card in this, in the pink car. 4th in shot, make it 3rd on the inside of Adam Lavis. Proctor very close, getting up in the dirt. Have an update for you from the Sydney Cricket Ground right now, and that is we're at the end of the first quarter of the season of the AFL, and Sydney 3-3-21 lead Melbourne 1-6-12. Play about to get underway in Newcastle between the Knights and Raiders in round 1 of the NRL as well. So we'll have score updates from that for you throughout the course of the evening. 10-second penalty for Greg Paget. No racing room on Michael Latta. That's been adjudicated already by race control. Already 5 minutes into this race, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 3-lapper and a 3-lapper only. Whoa, look at this. Look at this. Piper's got himself up into 3rd and he's happy to stick there at the moment. Merritt happy to push Proctor along. Chapman's got Vizza, Batten, Nats and Knight, Bullock for company. Baldwin is back to 11th now. But an inch is as good as a mile here. These 4 are racing among themselves for the balance of the night, if they can keep it clean and stay there. But how hard that's proven to be has already been well illustrated and documented. Proctor looks like he'll lead us back to the line unless Merritt fancies a chance to fire it down the inside, which he does. Gone. See you later. Hot lap to the front. Hot lap to the lead on the inside. The left-hander coming back towards the main straight. Left, right, left, right. Start, finish line, 2 laps to go. Merritt leads again. So Proctor uses slipstream to his advantage to wedge his way down the inside to turn 1. Keeps... Oh, John's gone round! That is as rare as you'll ever see. A mistake from Hot Lap. He's human after all in these things. Oh, we often talk about the big moments and the big tracks tripping the best of them up. And Merritt caught the curb and sent it the wrong way. Just a little bit greedy on the inside curb, and he wasn't alone either. I think that might have been Brian Bullock that went with him. Yes, no, a car in front of Brian. Oh,
That would be me, Zach.
that was you, Chapo. Oh, for God's sake, Chapo. Well, finally, firstly, we've got communication lines restored with you. That's good to see. Secondly, haven't you been in the wars tonight?
Yeah, it's been great, hasn't it? No. I watched Joe pop up next to John, and
At least you got a sense of
sorry
humour,
went
mate.
over and went, oh, this is not going to go well. So that was the first race done. That was a meatball flag, and then now I've gone and had myself another one. I just got a little bit thrown off by John going ahead of me, and I was trying to work out what to do, and busted it. So yeah, I've got to hit pit lane again.
Unlucky, mates. It's been that sort of night. Hopefully you can salvage something in race 3. But in saying all that, I have to ask the obvious question here. Lamar, good idea or bad idea on reflection?
Depends if you're asking me as a competitor or a spectator, Zach.
Both.
Well, I haven't spectated it yet, and I didn't really get to spectate a whole lot of that first race from 45 seconds back. So, yeah, I mean, it's sort of cool going up the Bull's Arm that way, but everyone's got to play the game, you know, if it's getting a bit dicey back out, there's probably not a bit of boisterousness on that front. So, yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't my idea. Well, it was my idea to put it up for a vote. Yeah, the other option was Daytona Oval. I can't imagine that being any cleaner, to be honest.
No, that's true. Yep, Daytona Oval would have been good. Sebring would have been okay, but skatey. And unfortunately, news just got a little bit worse for you too, by the way. They've given you a 25-second penalty for an unsafe rejoin as well. Not that it's going to matter if you're coming to pit lane, I would suspect. Hopefully race 3 goes better for you, mate. Let's ride on board with Daniel Piper right now. So it's the 2 Adams and a Daniel at the front at the expense of John Merritt. Lavis in the perfect position here to break the winning streak, the stranglehold that John Merritt's got on this championship at the moment. Of course, last week, I was in the commentary box for Long Beach. He went 1-3-1 there. He went 1-1-1 last week. So that win just now was 5 on the hop for him. It won't be 6 after coming unstuck. All on his own, turn 1. Proctor, Lavis, Proctor back to the front. It's a race in 3 if Piper can stick with them. These are the races where the racecraft is just as important as being in the right place at the right time, Daniel Correa-Sar. And for Daniel Piper, that is right here and now. He is in the right place at the right time, holding his own. Not normally a front end of town player in Spreyton side of Formula V, but using the significant tow and slipstream to his advantage here. Now he's got to focus on racecraft if he wants to get by Lavis and Proctor, but also not tripping himself up.
Exactly right. So Proctor's done a really good job to stay ahead of here, and what I'm really curious to see is just exactly how Daniel Piper's going to make this attack, because they've got one more lap to go. You can see that by the time there, of course, 15 minutes for that second race and also the third. And Daniel Piper's gotten it close a couple of times, but decided not to make the overtake. So I'm curious to see if maybe he's going to just stay behind and do less work for more gain, because he knows he can, as Adam Lavis will of course try and push Proctor through pressure as they come up to the final sector here. We've seen just how unstable these cars can be on those curbs, so if you can get that pressure heavy, then maybe they'll take a little bit more curb than they wanted to. Make a mistake there and you'll get a free position. So we'll see how that unfolds, but as it is, these front 3 are definitely in a battle of their own. Garen Batten back 3 seconds there. Jared Knight almost the same. And then Pete Matson's looking to attack him for P5 right now. So as they cross the line here for what is the final lap of the second race, I'm sure that you'll see Daniel Piper start to make a more aggressive moves as we evolve.
Indeed. Graham Stewart just feeding uppercuts very early on a Thursday night. How good's Graham Stewart's presence in the comments section been throughout the course of the year? We love you, mate. Thank you.
Proctor's gone wide on that point.
Wide. Proctor's wide. He's not at the front anymore. Lavis goes through to take the lead and sweeps around the outside to hold it. Proctor back in a second spot. Look at Piper just lurking, looming large. They're back straight, the Mulsanne. Here we go. Watch Piper. I reckon this has to be where he makes his move. If he's not leading by the end of the back straights, it's going to be a long shot. Look at him. Door opens up. Does he want to go through the middle? Does he want to dance? He dances with Lavis. He wants to go with Adam. Wants to get the toe there. They're going to zoom on by Adam Proctor. He's got his nose in front momentarily. 5:37.916, his fastest lap of the race. Not totally out of character for you at all, Graham Stewart. Thank you. The last lap on the rundown. Was it bulk build? No. Down on the inside. Here comes Lavis. Lavis to the front. Proctor to second. Piper back into third place. 2 minutes left on the clock, but we'll go into overtime by a good minute and a half here. Nearly 2 minutes. Nearly 2 minutes of overtime tonight. We'll eventually get you to the Porsches, folks. Don't worry about that. Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport continues with the Porsches from Aragón shortly. I believe Joe Baldwin's sticking around to be our guest commentator for that one on the back of showing his disdain or voicing his disdain for the circuit last week from a driver's perspective. He might enjoy it as a spectator. Proctor to the outside of Lavis. Proctor back to the front. And look at the long single file train behind them. And it's not the sort of thing we like to see in Formula V, but that is the risk you take with the Le Mans circuit, I guess. Proctor leads. This next part of the circuit is so key to the outcome of the race. It's Proctor, it's Lavis, it's Piper. It's Garen Batten, it's Pete Matson, it's Jared Knight, it's John Merritt, Phil King, Matt Schmidtke, and also Wayne Visser. Joe Baldwin back out in 11th after his early race spin. Only really 1, 2, 3 battles on the racetrack. Matson and Knight being one of those on screen right now. Look who's looming. Look who's there. John Merritt, that's about to become a three-way fight for track position. 5th, 6th and 7th. Lavis, no, Proctor holds sway. Proctor holds sway to the end of the back straight. Can Piper make a run from here? Lavis is piggy in the middle again. He was second to Merritt in the opening race. He wouldn't, I dare say, appreciate being second to Adam Proctor in this race. He wants to win a race at some point, but now he's got to contend with Piper down his inside. Have a look at this. Here's Josh Zuno saying what we're all thinking. As Piper gets the run. Piper waited for his moment and pounced. He's taking Lavis with him. They're trying to gang up on Proctor and have done so. And look at Batten. He's 2.2 down the road, but more importantly, behind them, it was 3 wide. Merritt, Matson and Knight. Merritt's got his way back to 5th. Matson down on his inside. Matson trying to hold on to a top 5 spot. Merritt back down the inside. They're side by side through the left-hander.
Oh, there he goes.
Round. Knight's gone round. He caught it. He'll hold on to 7th unless Phil King can get over the top of him. But it's now a fight in 2 for P5. And Piper's gone to the front. Proctor's going to dance with him. Lavis is the sitting duck, tucks back into 3rd. Merritt's weaving from left to right to hold Matson at bay. This is more like it for a Thursday night Spreyton side of Formula V. Lavis 3rd. Whatever happens, it's good for his championship because he's got John Merritt covered in this race. That gap was 7 points coming into tonight. Piper, this will be his first win on Thursday Night Motorsport when I've been in the booth. If he can hold these boys at bay here, Proctor second, Lavis third, they've led for 14 minutes of the 15, which is now heading towards 17. We must reiterate as well, ladies and gentlemen. But having led for much of the way, they'll feel a little bit duped here by Daniel Piper. What a performance. To the inside, they're 3 wide on the run to the final sequence of corners, the S's. Piper, oh! Proctor around the outside, pulls one off at the depth, takes Lavis, let it go! Up over goes Piper, round goes Lavis. Garrett Bell's going to come through to second, and Merritt to third. Can you bloody well believe that? Holy smoke! That is insane! Proctor firstly around the outside at the start of the S-bends. The left-hander, he was on the right. There's that move there. Lavis tried to replicate that, duplicate that at the next corner. Bang! Piper goes up, nearly tipped it, lucky not to. Got back out, got 5th place. In amongst all of that, John Merritt held off Pete Matson. That's the other battle we need to have a look at. Unfortunately for Lavis, the contact with Piper was enough to send him pirouetting as well. That allowed Batten to come through and take second. Merritt to third, Lavis to fourth, Piper through to 5th, Matson to 6th, and Knight to 7th. Merritt, the beneficiary in all of that, to come through with a podium. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen a finish quite like that. We've seen some good finishes here on a Thursday night in the past. None as chaotic as that. Holy smoke.
It was found no further action.
Let me catch
there.
my breath. I've got a couple of minutes.
That's all right. Yeah, so it was found no further action there from race control, and it's basically it is just a very unfortunate accident, as some people are well aware. If you're not, I'll quickly explain it. But basically, because of the way opposing forces work, when the wheels touch, if they're both moving in the same direction, you get what's called a catapulting effect, which is exactly what happened to Daniel Piper. He touched that the inside tyre, or the outside tyre, sorry, of Adam Lavis, and yeah, it just rocketed him up into the sky. And unfortunately, that friction has also caused Adam to take a spin. So if you're John Merritt, you're punching the air right now, because you wouldn't have thought he'd come across in third, but yeah, the seas parted. He absolutely came through.
I never bet against John Merritt in a Formula V, Daniel.
No, that's very true. That's
Another podium finish. Just when you thought his run at podiums was over, it's now 8 straight. Just ridiculous. And I think we might refer to him as John Moses from this point forward. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hey, Chapo, what was the end of that like from your perspective, please?
Oh, pretty crap. Yeah, no, he's, dawdling around at the back again after going through the pits. So, was trying to move off the racing line, but didn't realise there was someone on the outside, so got hit there and obviously got hit with the penalty. So, not ideal, unfortunate one.
All right. Stand on by, folks. We've got cars about to line up on the grid to go for race 3 here. Chapo, all we can say is good luck and hopefully third time lucky.
Fingers crossed.
Unbelievable. I'll echo that comment. I missed half of it, but it said something about the Vs being the most exciting category. No dirt Sherlock, as I will clean it up as best I can, being 8 o'clock in the evening, 8:15 Eastern Daylight, progressive and civilised time. Proctor, Batten front row, Merritt, Lavis second row, Piper, Matson third row, Knight, King fourth row, Schmidtke, Vizza fifth, Joe Baldwin, Greg Padgett, Justin Cotter, Michael Latta, Sam Chapman, Stephen Heaton and Brian Bullock will make up the field. But I get the feeling that Jared Knight and Joe Baldwin aren't going to grace us with their presence here, which is a little bit Oh no, Joe's on the grid. Where's Jared? I'm waiting to see if Jared Knight will join us on the grid? The answer is no. Knight is a non-starter, set to rock and roll. 21st race of the season, third and last one of round 7 for Spreyton side of Formula V. We're off and away, we're up and about. And just to go back to the comment I was making there earlier, yes, Formula V, the most exciting category in the land. As far as sim racing is concerned. The only thing that's got me more excited than Formula V in my involvement in the history of sim racing is the fact that we got the rain service finally launched by iRacing yesterday. They are the single-handedly, oh no, Piper from hero to zero. From hero to zero, it goes from bad to worse. The contact with Adam Lavis at the end of the thing, and then he's looped it at the start of race 3, and all of a sudden, he's going to be playing very lonely, so down the back end of the field, the balance of the night. Really unlucky for Daniel Piper. 9 seconds, 2 seconds now away from Stephen Heaton. Back straight for the first time. Brian Bullock, that was a moment and a half. Chapman on a mission here with the charge through. And have a look at Adam Lavis and John Merritt already. 1 second up the road on Garen Batten and Adam Proctor. Phil King, Pete Natson.
Sick!
Chapo! Chapo! I know Formula Vs aren't the fastest things in the world, but you don't want to bring yourself undone by going through a pothole. Or grass. Unbelievable.
Oh, here we go, forward.
Forward, why not? Why not? Four wide
Four
twice.
wide at the front,
Four wide twice. 4 wide twice if you don't mind. Have a look at this. That's what you like to see on the highway.
Oh, smoke everywhere. Pete Matson goes a little deep.
Pete's gone, thrown it away down the road to the right.
No, that was Proctor. No, sorry. Who was it that just slid there?
Oh, that's a very good question.
That is a good question.
Brian Bullock has dropped down to 13th.
Yep.
And Adam Proctor. Adam Proctor's down 9 spots. So it was Proctor that was the protagonist in all of that. So it wasn't Matson. We called that wrong. He had a slide as well, but Proctor had a bigger one. And wow. Graham Stewart just saying he expected to be an absolute you-know-what show with the rain, but apparently it's incredibly good. I've heard nothing but good reviews so far about the Tempest weather system. Batten, we ride on board with him at the moment. Through we go. So Merritt leads from Lavis. They've gapped Phil King, Matt Schmidtke, Joe Baldwin, Garen Batten, the rest of the pack. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Well played. Now, can these 4... Oh, Garen Batten right up the outside to go 4 wide.
Get up there, Pete.
That's his chances of gobbling everybody up around the outside. He'll have to contend with Joe Baldwin on the inside. Phil King and Matt Schmidtke in the middle. Lavis goes to the lead on Merritt at the front of the town as well. Play 5 for 3rd. Batten the last of the late breakers, but Baldwin's got him on the inside. How about that? Good running to the end of the back straight. It is a 3-lap race, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be won on the opening lap. It can be bloody well lost on the opening lap, though. There is the full field, in your view, with the exception of Stephen Heaton, who might be coming into view at the end of the shot, but no. Merritt and Lavis are too quick for him. 2.3 they've got on the rest of the pack, who are 3 wide behind them. Pick a dance partner. Have a look at the lane changing going on there. Lavis leads Merritt. These two don't want to come together. They know the craft. They know their skill set. They know each other's racecraft very, very well. They understand each other and their idiosyncrasies. So they'll be doing their best to avoid contact at all costs here because they don't want to be brought back to the rest of the train.
That's right.
Whoa,
Greg Padgett.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's caught it well, though. He's caught it well.
Did catch it. So, yes, as far as I'm concerned... Schmidtke again, the 3rd time tonight, and Batten went with him as well.
Oh, Sim
and
Chapman
now it's just a pile on. Chapman got caught up in it being a blind spot as he's come out of the right-hander. Have a look at this. Stacks on at the right-hander. Bang, it was Batten into Schmidtke. King got involved as well. Chapman had nowhere to go. Proctor went flying around the outside. And Brian Bullock's a beneficiary in all of that as well, up 11 spots. Oh boy. Oh, boy. Chapo, that's none from 3, mate. That's really not the night you're hoping for. Really, that's a drop round if ever there was one.
I would say probably it's going to be a drop round. Three meatballs will do that to a man. Yeah,
that one not your fault though.
Yeah, no, that one I won't take blame for that one. We're going to go 4 wide into that corner into Indianapolis. I went, no, I'm going to think better of that. But then it all went wrong afterwards. So, oh well, that's all right. The championship fight really is between John and Adam anyway. And this is an interesting one because John doesn't have any drop rounds in the bank, while Adam does. So Adam will drop back when all those points get taken off now, but it also means that John can't afford to have bad rounds in the same way.
So Phil King, Matt Schmidtke, Justin Cotter also to pit lane, and so too Chapman. Proctor and Heaton are trying their best to continue on. They'll be the beneficiaries of the other 5 being in pit lane.
Oh!
Batten has parked up for the night. Oh, no.
He went so deep in there. I'm not sure
now,
why.
I'm not laughing at the incident. I'm laughing at the comment. And Josh Zuno points me in the right direction to talk to you, Chapo, about Sunday. And we're excited about the start of the endurance campaign. It will be from Watkins Glen. I'm only involved in the opening part of the broadcast. I'm then taking off to the football at Suncorp. But Sunday, the enduro season up and away.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. We've got a good field, a good mix of cars too, so it will be good. I think we've got quite a number of GTPs too, so will be a brilliant round. We're really looking forward to it. Good to have you on board as well, Zach. And if you want to get a late team in, do get it in now. Because it'll be a lot of fun this season, I reckon. Josh has put a heap of planning into it, and all that sort of thing. Unfortunately, I'm going to be away for it as well, Zach. I've got other commitments. I'll bit of wedding in NZ, so I can't pass that one up. But get your vote, you can get in, have a go. It'll be great.
I've got some news that I'll share with everybody between Formula V and Porsches if time permits. In the meantime, let's continue on. Josh Zuno commenting there that we've got 13 LMDH cars and 18 GT3 teams fielding the grid currently. So that's 31. If we've got 31 on Sunday, that'll give us plenty to talk about for the rip around the Watkins Glen boot circuit. Is finally a positional battle on the circuit. There's only 2 of them, folks. This is the problem. As soon as you have carnage on a circuit like this, all your positional battles are not existent. There's only 2 of them. This is one. Wayne Visser and Michael Ladder. Wayne Visser running 5th at the moment. Michael Ladder 6th. Great run from him. So in all of that, Daniel Piper, who fell down the order on lap 1, with a spin on his own accord. Garen Batten's parked up for the night. He's done. Brian Bullock's up 9 spots. Michael Ladder's up 8 spots. Daniel Piper is now only down 2 spots on where he started. And that's how quickly it can change around here. Next time by, white flag in the air, last lap board. John Merritt, the leader from Adam Lavis, and has gapped Lavis now, 1.9 seconds. Baldwin gets by Matson for 3rd as well. Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport, we will take you to the Aragón circuit in Spain very shortly for the Porsche Cup, and we're looking forward to that immensely. We've had some magnificent racing in Formula V. The next natural progressive step now in terms of getting my excitement levels up on a regular basis, we've got Formula V, we've got weather, now we need a Hyundai XL. That's all we need now. Build iRacing, now that you've got the weather sorted, now that you're just going back to doing tracks, and cars, build me a Hyundai XL, please. That's all I ask for. All I want for Christmas is that, but I want Christmas to be much earlier than December.
I'll say this, though. So iRacing have a really good relationship with the Australian motorsport scene, which is awesome.
Yep.
And we know that the Gen 3 supercars are coming.
Yeah.
When the ETA
Whether you like
is that,
them or
I
not.
don't know. Well, that's true, whether you like them or not. But there is one thing. I don't know to the extent of how this relationship goes, but I would love to see the Aussie racers make it to the platform.
Yep. That's
Because
fair.
it's just Formula V with the size of a car, right? And I just feel like it'd be an absolute ripper.
Agreed.
So I
Pete
don't know.
Matson holding on to third at the moment from Joe Baldwin. Sorry, Daniel, go on.
No, I was just going to say, John Merritt's just gone. Like,
He's bolted.
you know what I mean?
Gone.
Oh, Josh, go look at the nearest door and walk out of it. God damn it. But yeah, John
Good
Merritt.
old Josh is throwing everybody under the bus tonight. That's good.
No, but yeah, John Merritt just went away.
Josh
with
is
it, 2
taking the leaf
seconds.
out of Graham Stewart's book.
That's it.
White flag in the air this time.
Yeah, Lavis isn't able to catch up. The draft is
It's a
really
very
powerful in these, but
Lonely run to third.
he's too far away.
So this is the battle to keep our eyes on. And Pete wasn't exactly fond of Joe's move on the opening lap and the 6 or 7 cars that it took out in the process. So let's see how this plays out. 2 club stalwarts, 2 committee members, side by side on the run up the main straight for the last time. Trucker to the inside to take third away from Pete. So Pistol will just slide back in here, I think, and follow Joe around and get the toe. Yep, you can take over for a little while. You can pull me along, he'll say. And then I'm going to jump out and pass you at a time you least suspect. Will be his mindset. Reminder, of course, folks, I mean, there's been a lot going on today. Geez, it's been a tough one. But I mentioned the footy at the top of the show. The AFL, the NRL underway tonight. Great to have the AFL underway after the NRL got underway on Sunday in Vegas. As soon as we're done here, there are practice and qualifying sessions coming up for Formula One and MotoGP this weekend from Saudi Arabia and Qatar. NASCAR, IndyCar from St. Pete as well. It's a big weekend of motorsport. I'll run you through it at the end of the broadcast. And MotoGP getting underway with a Thursday practice session ahead of a Sunday race. So the program stretched out over 4 days in Qatar as opposed to other rounds that are stretched out over 3. So a lot to look forward to there. We are just 2 hours, 28 minutes away from MotoGP practice 1 as well, and Formula 1 practice in the early hours of tomorrow morning from Saudi Arabia. So a big night ahead. If you are, like me, very much a night owl or an insomniac, if you're that way implied or inclined, make sure that you park up on the lounge tonight.
Oh, Lavis!
No! Alan Lavis has thrown it away! Alan Lavis has thrown it away! And with it, that little grip, that little grasp, that little grasp he had in his championship fight with John Merritt just slips a little further out of his grasp.
So just have a listen to the car here.
Yeah, it bottomed out, didn't it?
Oh, what? It dropped a gear?
Right there.
Oh,
Well, to be honest, I don't know how Chapo feels about this, and I'll come back to him in a moment because I'll call the Matson Baldwin battle to the line, and there's also one behind them, Wayne Visser, Michael Ladder, and Daniel Piper, that's worth keeping an eye on as well. There they are, top of shot. Matson and Baldwin, bottom of shot. Let's keep an eye on both of them if we can. I want to get Chapo's thoughts on something related to the car as soon as we're done here. This is a very long race, though, folks, so there's not going to be too much in the way of post-race show here before we turn our attention to the Porsches.
Please talk
And
to
we're
me,
looking
Zach.
forward-
I'm so bored.
And we're looking forward to being able to do so. Baldwin and Matson up the back straight for the final time. Side by side we go. Have a look at Graham Stewart's comment from a seated position. So there are so many things I could do with that, but again, we're in a family-friendly time slot, so I can't. Matson leads to the end of the back straight. We'll head up towards Indianapolis. Baldwin tucks in behind. It's Western Australia versus Queensland. It's Trucker v Matson, and Trucker to the outside of the Orbic Formula V of Pete Matson here. Trucker up 9 spots in this race. He's the big mover so far. 9 also for Brian Bullock. Most other people are going in a backward general direction. Cycling is obviously an exception. 3 wide, Daniel Piper trying to get back into the top 5. Wayne Viz is holding 5th at the moment. He's got Michael Ladder and Daniel Piper either side of him right here and now. Merritt, Baldwin, Matson. We're going into very sketchy territory with the comments at the moment. Oh, have a look at this. Off goes Michael Ladder. Off goes Michael Ladder. Bang, smash, crash, bang. Into the wall and done. Michael Ladder will limp that one to the line. And then there were 2.
So Joe's going to have to play really defensive here because Matson has all the advantage. The question's going to be if he's going to make the move or hang behind. He's going to make the move. Oh, there wasn't even a mill. There wasn't even a millimetre between those tyres, but he gets by. And so Pete's going to try and hold this out. I don't think this is the smartest move, Pete, but we'll see. You've got the camera on you. Don't fail now. So
Baldwin to the outside. Have a look at this. To put himself on the inside for the right hand. And look at Trucker. Oh, the curve and all. Oh, there was millimetres in it again. Because Trucker off the curb into the line of path of Matson. And Matson gets him back on the inside. John Merritt's going to get his 2nd win of the night and take round honours at the circuit of Lassar, but we cannot take our eyes off this. The fight for 2nd. Matson's driving it right down the middle of the circuit. Baldwin can't find his way through. 2 corners to go. Baldwin to the outside to put himself on the inside, coming onto the main straight. Have a look at that. Matson's got it done. Pete's going to get 2nd over Trucker. One of the great scraps you'll ever see between those 2 men. Ravis recovers the 4th. Viz is going to hold off Piper. Bullock, Proctor, and Ladder will make up the top 10. Oh, spare me, that was brilliant. The 2 or 3 times, they nearly came to blows. You just collectively held your breath. But at the front, just no stopping the great man John Merritt from another round win in Spreyton side of Formula V. The 7th round is his, just as was the 6th, as was the 5th. And that was the point. That 2nd last corner was where Baldwin backed out of it. Extraordinary. I'm out of breath already and we've still got Porsches to come. I knew I would be. At least one good thing came of Le Mans. Chapo, I will talk to you now, and we'll have Pete Matson in a second, and also Joe Baldwin. You 2 blokes rock and roll, didn't you? Fantastic. Merritt from Matson and Baldwin, Wavis, then Vizza, Piper, Bullock, Proctor, Padgett and King, the top 10. Heaton, Chapman, Ladder, Cotter, Schmidtke. They came home behind that. I'm not sure Schmidtke made it to the line, though. He parked up in pit lane. So it's all done. It's all over. Well done once more to John Merritt on his 2nd win of the night. Chapo, I must ask you, I was a little bit concerned. Part of me only thought about this on the way into the booth tonight. If it is Le Mans, how are the engines going to go? They're going to get absolutely flogged around here. I'm surprised there wasn't a failure or 2 along the way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised too. It's, I mean, they don't rev up that hard, so I don't think they're peak. Like it's, I think what do we get to the end of the straight? Like it's about 160, 162 before we get the draft. So, but yeah, I think they're pretty low strung, these old Volkswagen engines. But yeah, they certainly are slow up in Lausanne if there's no one else around you.
Exactly. Quickly going around the grounds before I bring the rest of you in for a conversation here, and we'll get Chapo's thoughts on the next 3 weeks. In the meantime, Sydney leading Melbourne 4-3-27 to 1-8-14 at the Sydney Cricket Ground, and the the home of the Newcastle Knights there. I can't remember what they call the bloody thing these days. McDonald Jones, I think it is. It's gone through that many name changes in recent years. McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. The Raiders lead the Knights 8-0 after 30 minutes of play. Thursday night football on the Olympic Network, Nine's Wide World of Sports. Let's talk to Pete Matson and Joe Baldwin. Pete, you weren't backwards in coming forwards with your comments after race 1, let's be perfectly honest. And then all of a sudden you had to go toe-to-toe with the great man Joe Baldwin here for the better part of 2 laps and held him off. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, no, he's the best bloke to go toe-to-toe with when you're not packed behind him in the grid. So, yeah, no, it's good. He's good to race.
Oh dear, Trucker, Pete, stay there. I'm coming back to you, Trucker. What an eventful night for you, a chaotic night. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel with John Merritt in the opening race, set off a chain reaction, and there were a few people shouting expletives in your general direction. Then you threw it down the road on your own accord in race 2 when you were in a very good track position and early in the piece too, and spent the rest of the night, the balance of the race, clawing your way back. Then third time lucky, old Adam Lavis throws it down the road unexpectedly. Chapo and a few others get caught up in a contretemps, and the seas part, and you're ending up on the podium in a toe-to-toe battle with Pete, and you only decided to back out of it and let him go 2 corners from home.
Yeah, look, a bit of a redemption arc for the night in the beach, I think. In that race 1, though, I called it over the radio straight away. When I pulled out from behind John, on my screen it showed about 2 feet, but as soon as I sort of drew up alongside, it actually sucked us in together and spat me sideways. So, yeah, it was, I don't know, just one of those weird neck-cody things. But on my end, I thought I was clear, but obviously iRacing had other ideas. And turn 2, I was being a bit of a smarty aleck going into the chicane, and yeah, he managed to pinch the rear coming down off the curb, so threw that one away as well. I had a good race with Biz in that one, but look, Matto and I, we've been racing hard at it for the better part of, I think, about 6 years now.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best races I've had with him, and I tipped my hat to him as soon as we went over the line. He was very, very intelligent in that one, and he had my measure. I can't argue the point, mate. He got me with my pants down. That's well done.
It's the first time in a couple of years, I reckon. So, yeah, no, it was awesome. I'm celebrating tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mate. You drove flawlessly on that lap.
Hey, Trucker, last week we extended the invitation to you to join us in Central Commentary, considering you had no interest in racing the Porsche around Aragón. Are you still sticking around with us?
I'm in here. I'm going to go and do qualifying, and if I decide that I really suck at it, I'll come and join you in the Central booth.
Yes, excellent. I'm actually glad that you're at least giving it a crack. I didn't think you were even going to do that. If it was Fodiatis and Sebring, there's no way in hell he'd be here.
Oh, he would have been, a couple of drinks in with his feet up on the roof, on the buffet in front of the TV, watching it, laughing at everybody. So we'll do qualifying. If I'm a bit of a spud, mate, I'll come and join you.
I was going to say, just a quick comment with regards to, have a look at Stuart with his bait. He's bait strong tonight. There's no doubt about that. The rod and reel, the fishing game, well played. In the meantime, Lamar, good call, bad call with this being the track for Formula V tonight. 5.5 minute lap is a long way around for the best of us, and probably maybe not the field side to do it justice, because one incident in the field spreads.
No, we're all going to lay that on Schmidtke. Matt Schmidtke, he told us he was the last one to vote and got that track over the line. So everybody can cancel their Christmas cards to Schmidtke. Yeah. But look, hey, it's all about variety, right? Like I actually voted to go to Daytona Oval because I thought it would have been good. I would have thought that would be different. But it's Le Mans won out, and we all got to race on the same track, and it was fun in the end. Race 3 was fun. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, absolutely you did. Well, you can't have enjoyed the first 2. It's easy. It's easier when they're mistake-free. Well done, Trucker. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, mate.
From Joe Baldwin back to Pete Matson momentarily. Nice for you to finally be able to buy some luck. It took the incident in race 1 to get it, Pete, but a good charge forward in the next 2.
Yeah, really happy with the night. So, and I reckon there was some pressure on Lavis in the last race. That's why he spun it. You know, Joe was catching him. So, but yeah, this is what I love it. Right, this is the good racing side by side, battle clean, most of it. So yeah, it's great.
Indeed. Now, I'll have some news that I want to share with everybody in just a few moments. In the meantime, Pete, let's remind everybody, if we can, please, Daniel, of the calendar ahead for Spreyton side Formula V. We've got 3 rounds to go. One of those is still a TBA. We know that Circuit de Lebanon is next week. I'm not terribly disappointed to be missing that one, but it's a French double on the back of Le Mans this week. Circuit de Lebanon next week. We know what Phillip Island will produce. I've got a feeling I know what the second TBA is, but your thoughts on Lebanon?
No thoughts. I don't even think I own the track at the moment.
Okay, so Pete's got to make a purchase this week. Pete's got to reach into the kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Let me know your thoughts once you've had a crack around there, mate. We're very excited about the rain. Obviously, iRacing will roll out across different categories at various points over the next short while, but I don't think we need too much more to spice things up in Formula V. It's good enough in the dry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's so close, the racing. Except if you're John Merritt, he would have had the boringest couple of races, I reckon.
No, not necessarily. He had good company in the first race, and for part of the first, part of the second, and part of the third as well. The third one, he ended up getting away with it though, and did so very, very handsomely. Pete, would you come back here in a Formula V again, or are we happy to have ticked that box and move on?
I would come back here in a V again, just because it doesn't really matter where we race, right? Yep. So it's all about the race. But yeah, I think, Zach, for me, I think it's this weekend we have the endurance, right?
That's right, Sunday, Watkins Glen.
That'll be a pearler. So if any of the guys haven't got their team set, get in there, and yeah, it'll be a fantastic event.
Indeed it will be, and looking forward to it immensely, mates. Thanks for that. Go well. We'll catch up with you a little bit later on in the piece, and if not before, we'll probably see you on Sunday.
No worries. See you there.
There he is, the one and the only Pete Matson. John Merritt, to you very quickly. Before we, of course, get stuck into the Porsches, and we're very excited about seeing how Aragón plays out. Well done. 2 from 3. The winning streak broken, but the podium streak continues. However, can we talk about race 2? Because that was as uncharacteristic from you as I think I've ever seen. You've lost the rear end through turn 1. It catapults you down the order outside the top 10, I think it might have been, and you clawed your way back. And then you wouldn't have been able to believe your luck as you've entered the last corner. We're going to start calling you Moses, because you had 3 cars end up in trouble, and all of a sudden you're on the bloody podium, mate.
Yeah, mate, just collecting the couple of chocolates at the end there, which I was lucky, very lucky. Yeah, made a nice blue and got one of those yellow sausage curbs, trying to be a little too tricky, so paid the fine in race 2. But mate, that's been the season. Race 2 is my nemesis.
Indeed it is. It has been very much the case throughout the course of the campaign. What were your initial thoughts on Le Mans when you wheeled the Formula V out there? I mean, it's a lot quicker in a sports car, but still 5:38's not a bad time around here.
Yeah, mate, we'll leave Le Mans behind. Yeah, well done, Matto, but I don't agree with the sentiments coming back. Yeah, like, I suppose if you had 40 or 50 cars on the grid, it'd be good. You know, maybe you wouldn't get a breakaway, but unfortunately it just takes a slight incident and breaks the field up. So the drafting's good, you know, all for that. You know, some long straight tracks, but yeah, 6-minute laps. Yeah, if you're by yourself, it gets a little drawn out.
Indeed. Now the The other point I wanted to make here was we've got Lennon on next week. We've got obviously the potential for something very similar to happen there, not because of the fact that it's a 13-kilometre circuit, but because of the fact that it's not a track that lends itself to the type of racing we're synonymous or familiar with or used to in Formula V. But quickly, you had a little bit of pressure there in race 1 from your old sparring partner and championship combatant, Adam Lavis. You're able to hold him off, and then in race 3, you managed to get a little bit of a gap for yourself before he come unstuck.
Yeah, mate. I think you missed one gear, and I think Adam made a slight little error, and that was it. You know, once it's beyond 1 second, it's all over. So if you're within, I suppose, even 1 second lap times, if you're in that draft, people, you know, the train will stay together, but if it's broken, it's broken. So, and Lebanon, well, that sounds like something you wouldn't like to catch, but I don't know the track, and no idea, and I'll probably have to buy it, I think, so I don't know it.
Yep. All right. Go well with that, mate, and go well with the Porsche. Good luck. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table next week.
Thanks, Zach. Cheers, mate.
And we're standing by for Aragón in just a few moments' time, but I just want to address some news that came to light this afternoon before we take a break. And before I get to that, I need to tick the box and pay the bills as well, ladies and gentlemen. Sydney up 27-20 on Melbourne at the Sydney Cricket Ground, half-time in the AFL. They'll switch ends and go again. The Knights now have got on the board 2 minutes to half-time. The Raiders leading the Knights 8 points to 6. And as far as we're concerned, well, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club without Waste Options, Spreyton Cider, Player One Sim Gear, Leipzig Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. As we go to the break, however, yeah, I'm still a little bit shocked, gobsmacked, and genuinely numb today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to read this post from the Australian Army on social media and then elaborate on why I'm sharing it here. It is with great sadness Defence can confirm 2nd Commando Regiment Soldier Lance Corporal Jack Fitzgibbon has died following injuries he sustained after a parachuting incident on 6th of March 2024. This was at the RAAF training base in Richmond in Sydney. This time our main priority is to support Lance Corporal Fitzgibbon's family, and our thoughts are with them, his friends and the unit as they grieve their loss. The Australian Army has temporarily paused all parachute training. I've known the Fitzgibbon family since I met Jack in year 4 in the year 2000. That news hit pretty bloody hard when we learnt of it this afternoon. Grace, he's got 2 sisters, Caitlin and Grace. Grace is like a 3rd sister to me because we lived in Bathurst together for 4 years in the mid-2010s. It's hard to believe that we're sitting here talking about someone that we went to school with in the past tense. But yeah, he was one of the first people I met when I changed schools and went from Bellbird Public to St Patrick's in year 4. And that is news that has just sent shockwaves right throughout Cessnock because his dad, Joel, was the former MP for Hunter for the good part of quarter of a century, former Defence Minister as well. And they are so widely regarded, so widely known, so widely respected and loved in Cessnock. It's not just a loss for them, but it's a loss for the town, the city, the community as well, and for the Defence Force. So I want to send my love, my condolences, my thoughts to his family and friends who are no doubt doing it very, very tough tonight. I am actually heading down to Cessnock next week on another assignment, and if I can stick around and make it work that I can attend his funeral whenever those details are confirmed, I'll absolutely do so. So we say rest in peace, Jack, and thank you for not just your friendship but also your service to the country, mate. Rest in peace. Thursday night motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And apologies to Daniel Correa-Sar because he gave me the 3-2-1 and then all of a sudden the program was right and had to clear it. This is Spreyton side of Thursday night motorsport. It is coming to you live and exclusive across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube from the MotorLand Aragón circuit in Spain. And this is the first of 2 visits here in the next week for us because we're back here on Monday night with GT3, I believe, and looking forward to that. But in the meantime, here's the lay of the land. The circuit will have an update with regards to circuit and track temperature and all that information very shortly. No rain in sight just yet for the Porsches. Might have been a little bit cruel to just throw them under the bus and put it in as soon as the rain server was available to us. So expect rain in the weeks ahead, I would suspect. 19 degrees the ambient, 21 on track. It is a 5.29 kilometre circuit. We are using the tin top and open wheeler equivalent of the racetrack at the end of the back straight there. The Grand Prix configuration, not the motorcycle configuration, which of course cuts through that hairpin, and it becomes just a so instead of it being a hairpin and a right-left, it's just the long sweeping left-hander that comes around onto the main straight. Tonight we're doing the extension of that, and looking forward to it immensely. Championship points coming into this round. Let's have a look at it. Madam Lavis on the top, 369 points in the Open Cup, 297 for Chuk Fung Wong, and then Blake Fitz on 259, 221 for Tristan Koch, and 126 for Joe Baldwin, who's persevering with it. I'm actually impressed that Joe's going to have a crack tonight. I wasn't expecting this. 380 for Matty Dench, and 251 for Dane Snadden. Sebastian Spicer, 248. Paul Wilson, 235 and 216 for Teo Serrano. Matty Dench, 380 points, 129 already clear with only 4 rounds to go. Drop rounds don't even get calculated until the end of tonight's round, and we won't have those details, that information for you until this time next week, ladies and gentlemen, because Adam Lavis has got an early start tomorrow morning, so we won't excuse me, be able to pass on any updates for you during tonight's broadcast. We'll just send you on your merry way and say come back next week. But yes, he's already got a round and a half to the good. A full round, by which I mean the enduro round at the end of the season, the triple points for the 3 race formats. So it is looking ominous. But title number 9 is within Matt Dench's reach. Daniel Correa-Sar, save me for a second here before cars line up on the grid, because I've got to clear the throat before we get underway. Aragón, not everybody's cup of tea, but we're looking for, Denchy needs a 150-point handicap next season to see if he can climb over the deficit, claw back the deficit. I agree, Graham. That's actually a very good point from you. But I mean, it hasn't been without its moments. Todd Hayne, Jared Knight, they've rode their luck on occasion here. And even now tonight, Denchy starting 4th, and Corey Lazarus has been a vast improvement this season as well.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, Aragón's always hit people's nerves, or some people's nerves, I should say. I quite like the circuit, but I can understand why some others might not. But in any case, a 40-minute race around here will always produce some good racing. Aragón is one of those tracks where there's just enough technical bits that can keep things spiced up. So while Zach is clearing his throat here, I'll just run you through the grid for tonight. So Corey Lazarus manages to get himself on pole with a 158.706, and he'll start from the front. Todd Hayne will go alongside him. Jared Knight and Matthew Dench in the second row. Chuk Fung Wong and David Baz in the third. That's actually a really good result there for Chuk Fung Wong in the open class. Ryan Preston and Dane Snadden in row 4. David Christensen and Paul Wilson in row 5. Adam Lavis and Blake Fitzpatrick there in row 6. Dale Sharp, Joe Baldwin, row 7. Matt Schmidtke and Daniel Piper in row 8. And we have Philip Butler and Tristan Koch in row 9.
And it's not the biggest field you've ever seen, ladies and gentlemen, but what it lacks in depth, it certainly doesn't lack in quality. And yes. Graham Stewart's on his way. He might stick around yet. We're not sure.
It's a Spain in the backside. I only just saw
the old dad jokes are firing tonight. Third quarter at the Sydney Cricket Ground, the Swans up by 3 points. Funnily enough, we're getting ready to fire. It is Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms. The Gentleman Sim Racing Club. The pole in the open split went to Chook Fung Wong. The pole in the elite split to Corey Lazarus. Can he convert it to a win tonight? Let's find out. 40 minutes ahead of us after a couple of weeks of sprint racing. A beautiful start from Matty Dench up on the inside. Got by both Hayne and Knight. Got by Lazarus as well. Denchi goes to the lead at 1. Lazarus will fend back on the inside and force the issue through 2 and slot into the lead position after an early scare from Dench. A blinder of a start if ever there was one from the number 1. They've gapped Hayne and Knight already immediately. Lazarus was under serious pressure, forced the issue, knew he'd have the inside line, held tough and kept Denchi at bay, and there aren't too many people that can go punch for punch with him and do that. But Lazarus leads, and now the games start. Who's fuel saving, who's not? We know that Denchi will get up to his usual tricks. How much hope does everybody around him have from this point forward?
Well, one of the things to keep in mind is that we know over the course of the season, Corey Lazarus gave us some insight that he has been practicing his fuel-saving techniques because, of course, Matthew Dench usually tends to run away with these races, but over the past couple of sessions, that hasn't been the case. Matthew Dench has come away with wins, but he has been tested, and Corey Lazarus has been doing a fantastic job on the fuel-saving front, so completely expect him to be doing that as well. The question is, will he be able to do it to the same caliber, or will Matthew Dench squeeze him once again? Time will tell, but I do not expect it to be easy sailing for Matthew Dench. As we go round by round, expect these two to get closer and closer, and boy, are we ever better for it.
And yeah, absolutely. Anybody that tunes in on a Thursday night is better for it. Yes, Veronica's saying, I'm sure Matt has enjoyed being in the pack. I'm sure he has as well. I'm absolutely convinced he's enjoyed the challenge, the change of scenery. Because at the end of the day, after a little while, it becomes a little bit mundane and monotonous. It becomes a little bit repetitive and boring, stale. At least now it's a little bit less predictable. And he has shaken off some serious challenges and competition. Dane Snadden pointing the wrong way. Especially when it comes to one-lap pace in qualifying. But he still finds a way to the front to get the fastest lap of the race at the end of the day, funnily enough. Now, Corey Lazarus leads Matty Dench second, Todd Hayne, Jared Knight, Chook Fung Wong, Joe Baldwin, David Christensen, Adam Lavis, Dane Snadden, Blake Fitzpatrick and Dale Sharp with the top 10 after the opening lap. We got round in 2:05.7, but those times will come down once we're up to full speed because we're off the standing start originally, remember. So Lazarus leads and Dench is happy to tuck in and follow for the moment. I was going to say, Jared Knight's due some luck, isn't he? I mean, Todd Hayne's there in third at the moment. Knight is trying to hang with them and go. 10-second penalty for Dane Snadden for the contact with Chook Fung Wong on the opening lap as well. So it goes from bad to worse for Snadden, already down the order in ninth. He's going to drop 10 seconds post-race as well. And we're riding on board with Blake Fitzpatrick following that car in question, Dane Snadden, right now. Lazarus, Dench, Hayne, Knight. I was making a point about Knight. Due for some luck, had none at Le Mans. Didn't even bother starting race 3. They had a gutful after race 2. And hopefully his love-hate relationship with the Porsche will be more love, less hate tonight. And he can work with Todd Hayne to achieve a result here. But again, those guys have already made a rod for their own back with Matty Dench having got by them off the start. There's Ryan Preston firing it down the inside of Tristan Koch. And in behind them, just ahead of them is Daniel Piper, who was the standout performer, the star of race 2 of Spreyton side of Formula V. It's Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport, the 4th race of the program. We've had 2 different winners so far tonight, and with neither without John Merritt on this grid, at least we'll add one name to the list in the pro split, and Adam Lavis unluckily missed out on a win in Formula V as well. So we'll be able to add a name to the open split there too. Oh, round goes Matt Schmidtke. Geez, he has had no luck tonight. If there's ever been an incident to be involved in, Schmidtke's found a way. And so yes, having got caught up on my own sentence structure, the good news is that we'll add two new winners' names to the list of winners for a Thursday night, knowing that John Merritt got the job done in 2 races at Le Mans. And who won the second race again? I'm just trying to remember. Was it
Proctor, I believe?
It was Adam Proctor, yeah. He finally got himself a W because Piper and Lavis came together, that's right. And Merritt came through to grab.
To his credit, he was ahead of them.
He was
clear ahead of them.
Was.
So it wasn't just because of that. He did win it on his own merit, but it did help that the people that could contest for it could no longer contest for it when they got to the final corner. So, yeah, that's a good one there from Proctor. And as we just tick over close to that 6-minute mark here, Matthew Dench again. It's almost like a snapshot. It's Corey Lazarus leading, Matthew Dench tucking behind. And he's making sure not to let him get too far ahead, but you can tell that Matthew Dench is using that draft in order to save some fuel. Now the question is, how much more can he gain from Corey Lazarus here, as Corey does take the fastest lap there, and Matthew Dench just as quickly takes it back. 2 minutes, a 1:36 from them. And look at those front 4. Actually, have a look at the front 4. 200.3, 200.1, 200.2, 200.4.
Well, that makes the number crunching pretty bloody easy tonight, doesn't it? I mean, have I had an easier night at the office as far as the Zaculite is concerned? I mean, dead set. Give me a challenge, please. No, we had 2, 3, and 3 for Formula V. That was pretty obvious at Le Mans, with the amount of overtime attached to it as well. I'm sure iRacing will love just giving us 3 minutes of racing. The numbers here are pretty simple. It'll be 20 laps. It'll be 2 minutes a lap. It'll be that'll be incorporating the splash and dash, and there'll be some overtime attached to it for good measure, just by virtue of that transit down pit lane. We'll get back to the line somewhere late in the 39th minute and start that final lap. So 20 is the magic number tonight. Who will be the first there? And Corey Lazarus, Matt Dench, Todd Hayne, Jared Knight. They're the leaders at the moment. Chook Fang Wong, Joe Baldwin, David Christensen, Adam Lavis, the next 4. They're the top 4 of the open split right now. It's a very weak field by Porsche standards, only 18 on the grid. But the same said for Formula V tonight. Obviously, these tracks are not everybody's cup of tea, but that's okay. We will soldier on, because in a couple of weeks' time, we'll have our grand final night, and we're very excited about taking Formula V's to Phillip Island. And as for the Porsches here, folks, they are heading to Spa-Francorchamps in the 9th week, and they are heading to Autodromo Carlos Pache in Interlagos in week 10. So we finished strong with the Porsches, and Interlagos usually draws a good crowd. Greg Heaney's jumped into the broadcast green room very early in the piece, and it's a little bit out of character because we don't normally see him here on a Thursday night. Greg Heaney, welcome aboard.
How you going, Zach? How you doing?
Very well, mate. Nice to have you on board, but what brings you here, please?
I was on and you guys were on, so I thought I'd probably have a chat after having a break from driving in the rain for a little bit.
Okay, so obviously this saves me asking the question on Monday night. All the comments, all the reviews I've had, all the people I've spoken to, nothing but love, praise, and good things, good vibes to say about the rain server. What are your initial impressions, mate?
It's going to spice things up a bit. I think we might actually be able to catch old mate Denchy, but we'll see. No, it's certainly going to level the playing field. Driving behind somebody makes it very interesting. But, I reckon, honestly, they've done a brilliant job with it.
Indeed they have. And, I've only seen certain bits and pieces here and there the last couple of days, mate. I haven't actually been able to commentate on a wet session as yet because we simply haven't gone in that general direction. It will happen in due course, folks, and we are very excited about it. But yes, from everything I've read, everything I've seen, and everyone I've spoken to, they're absolutely loving it. And it's not loving it just because of the novelty, it's because of the attention to detail and what it actually brings to the table and the way it reinvents the wheel.
Oh, most definitely. Like myself and a couple of the other boys from Whiskey Business did some testing last night around Road America with a transitional session. So started dry, light rain, heavy rain, light rain, and then down to dry again. Yeah, Road America is interesting. There's some very large puddles, and you can't tell which line is which on the back straight.
Copy that. We'll keep our eyes peeled on that, I think. In due course when we do get to Road America. I cannot wait. I mean, if you've ever played the F1 games on PlayStation 5, you know that they have a model set up where you can set your own weather, so you can enforce stanzas of race distance.
Joe!
Jeez! Joe Borb nearly threw it down the road. He's lost 2 spots. He's lost out to Christensen and Lavis, but he gathered it up and he keeps Snadden and Fitzpatrick at bay. So you can start dry, you can finish wet, you can then go back to slightly overcast and then go back to absolutely tipping down. But for here, it'll be interesting to see how much control the server operator has when setting that up, and exactly how much they can play with it in terms of setting the server up to go from dry to wet and so on and so forth. I literally cannot wait. I think it's going to be one of the great equalisers in GSRC history, and I think our longer races have the potential to a lot, is the confirmation from Josh Zuna. I think our longer races now have that element, that degree of creativity about them in which they are set up. We can have that variance that we've not had before. Rain, dry, rain, whatever, take your pick, take your fancy. I think it's going to be terrific. Josh was commenting on Sebring. Have you had a crack around there in the rain yet, Sebring?
Yeah, I had a crack in that that earlier in the LMP2 in the 217. You definitely need to adjust to it, that's for sure. Sebring is actually not a bad track to drive. It's got some very defined off-line lines, if you will. It's easier to pick them in certain spots because there's not as much standing water. I found having to run a more rearward brake bias, being that the LMPs don't have ABS in them, is much of an assistance. As I'm watching the boys going at it through turn 1, I'm a little bit delayed because I'm watching it on YouTube and talking to you boys at the same time.
Good. We've got Maverick and Christensen on screen at the moment in the respective Aussie races, Bailey Ladders entries. Greg, let me ask you this with regards to yesterday. I just get the feeling, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I scrolled through Facebook and saw a few different live servers. Maybe it's because I checked into Discord and saw a few people online. Did work get a phone call yesterday with a little bit of a fake cough going on? I'm a little bit sick, I can't come in today. I feel as though the good percentage, the good chunk of anyone that was off work yesterday might have been iRacing personnel and clientele chucking a sickie. Were you one of them?
Unfortunately, no.
No.
I've got too much stuff to do at work with
that's fair.
Everything we're doing at Timber Trust at the moment. So, yeah, we've just got so much work on it, it's not funny. So, yeah, if I'd done that, I probably would have been rather frowned upon.
Yes, no, that's true. Hey, we're of course here on Monday night in the GT3s, but we're in sprint racing as Joe has another off-track excursion, and now his love-hate relationship with Aragón is really coming to the surface. He's still in 8th, he's still up 6 on where he started, but it's and Dane Snadden went off behind him as well. Here it is. So Snadden's second off track of the night, trying to get through on the inside, and the Porsche does Porsche things. Spins him round.
It just looked like Joe's brakes didn't agree with him.
No, that's true. You agreed. Have a look at this in the meantime. Lazarus and Dench, and they've only got about a second on Hayne and Knight. And are you learning any tips from the guys here whilst you're watching Aragón in readiness for Monday night?
I've driven a few laps around Aragón in the Audi. Particularly, I think it was last season they had it on. I've done a bit myself. I do like the track. Being able to use an extra half a car width of road is always good. But having a look at the forecast, because Adam Lavis has gone in and put in the forecasts for the GT3s for the next 3 rounds and announced that there is going to be a chance or possibility of wet.
Excellent.
I'm looking forward to it. You'll be looking forward to Spa, I'm guessing, because looking at the forecasts that we've got for that one, you've got about a 46% chance that it's going to be wet for the race.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear.
So that's practice for that's interesting.
Maybe you blokes don't like that, but we in the commentary box, we know how much it shakes things up. And
well, you boys get to sit here and it's all nice and dry and everything, and we're out there on the track.
100%, and not complaining about it either. No, it's going to be great, and of course the finale of the series being 90 minutes, being Spa, promises so much. And what else is keeping you busy, mate? I mean, obviously GT3, but what else beyond GSRC for the moment and work?
Yeah, I hate using the dreaded W word, being that, I mean, it is over halfway through the week, so it's probably not so bad. But no, not a lot at the moment. Hoping that we're not going to have to move house soon because the landlord wants to sell the joint. But with any luck, we're staying where we are, otherwise having to find a new place to live. But
yep.
Such as life. We move on.
Today, funnily enough, strangely enough, ironically, it's a strange time. There's no doubt about that. Got our fingers crossed for you, mate. That all goes well there, and no doubt we're looking forward to watching you back in action on the platforms of the GSRC on Monday night. Any particular circuit or any particular car that you've tried in the rain that you haven't been fond of so far?
No, not really. I haven't tried the Caddy yet, which I probably should, because if we end up with rain in the Enduros, I could be in a spot of bother. Driven the Audi in the rain, that's nice to drive. It is quite stable if you get your brake bias and everything set correctly. Leaning a fair chunk on the electronics in the car to be able to keep it where we want it to be. The LMP2, that's nice. One of the other guys on my Discord server had a crack at the 86 and he said that's an absolute handful. But being a very little light car and not having proper wide wet tyres, it does almost kind of what Matt Schmidtke just did through turn 1.
Yes.
So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Indeed it is. We're almost half race distance here, boys, and that's crept up on us because, well, time flies when you're having fun, and we're enjoying having some in-race chatter here with Greg Heaney, Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport. Dench seems content to just let Lazarus lead from the front here, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of reward Dench reaps for that when we get to the pit stop sequence. Have a look at... look, I shouldn't say it because we're not yet past the 10:30 threshold, but seriously, the track limits on iRacing, it gets me every time because there's no consistency track to track. Did you see how much they were taking the piss there on the run down to turn 1? Not one of them on the correct side of the white line. They were all on the ripple strip, all on the AstroTurf. Fair.
Yeah, but the limits of this one, Zach, is sorry to cut you off. The limits the limits of Aragón is the back edge of the red and yellow ripple strip.
Yeah. So as long as they're on there, it's fair game.
Yeah, exactly.
But in other racetracks, if you were on that AstroTurf and not on the Ripple Strip, they'd be throwing
You
one
get stung
extra.
for it. Exactly.
Yeah, but there's no consistency track to track. It's the one thing that really irks me about this server. As much as we're raving about how good it is that they've got the rain up and going, there's certain things like that, and have a look at the clutch on Corey Lazarus right there and now. And whatever he's clutching, Denchi's clutching as well. But yeah, seriously. Simon Cox, and hello to you, mate. Nice to have you on board. He's pointing out that Daytona, night and rain will be a sight to behold. Not the oval, the infield. The road course.
Apparently, heavy rain and fog is also a good mix.
Yep.
That'll be interesting.
Yep, and trust me, if we ever do a Bathurst race in winter and it starts early in the morning, it will be cloudy, foggy, and cold.
Oh, look, any Bathurst race from here out, I think, is going to have rain.
Absolutely.
You
Drench
can't
to the
not have
outside! Whoa, hang on. I'll come back to you, Greg. I agree with you 100%, but Drench is now mounting an assault. Have a look at this. Lazarus defending as they come back up onto the main straight. Half race distance, 20 minutes down, 20 minutes to go. 10 laps gone. Drench now all over the back of Lazarus, forcing the issue to turn one. But look at the clutch. Look how early he got on the brakes there to Denchi. And look at what it's doing for Todd Hayne and Jared Knight. It's inviting them back into it as well. Back to your point, I agree. Any Bathurst race that doesn't have rain in there at some point from this point forward, we're not doing our job right, I don't think.
Oh,
After
most
the
definitely.
recent 12-hour.
Oh, definitely, and it's got to come from orange, because otherwise it's coming from the wrong direction.
Yeah. I like it. Although that being said, I don't know if iRacing are that smart.
No, you just set the wind direction and you'll be fine.
I'll say this. I'll cut in just to give you a bit of an explanation as to how the Tempest weather system actually does its math. So. At first we thought that there might be real-time weather where it just pulled from live weather data and gave us a one-to-one copy, but it turns out that's not the case. What they've done is they've taken historical data from the areas at and around the track, and then they've translated that into the system, and then the system will make a judgment based on that historical data, which means no two sessions will ever be the same. But the interesting thing to remember is everybody got hyped about the rain, and for sure that's what the main focus was, but it's a weather system. It's not just turn rain on, turn rain off. So what we need to remember is, let's just go back to your point, Zach, about Bathurst in the morning. Through an enduro point, the time evolves, and it takes into account things like the moisture and all of that level. So what can actually happen, which people have already experienced, is if you go from early hours of the morning throughout, dew settles on the grass.
Oh, your grass in the rain is bad.
Right, so they've updated the surface models as well to reflect the wet. Now, that means that you'll get these slight moments where, as you progress from night into day, it might not be raining, but you might still get moisture on the grass, which means that once upon a time, you thought you might be safe dipping some tyres in there, but as you get that early morning condensation, that becomes not the case. So there's a lot that it throws out there, and then to touch on that as well, we have things like fog and like heavy visibility reduction. It's just the potential of the weather system from not only the driver perspective, which is obviously throwing in a whole bunch of hurdles and possibly increasing the immersion factor and also the fun factor, but from us as an audience, it's just like, it's so weird to think that rain would be such a massive upgrade to iRacing. But in true iRacing fashion, they've showed us that when you do things the iRacing way, they are absolutely groundbreaking, and it is almost unanimous across the board. If you look at sim racers and professional drivers alike, they are all heralding the same thing, which is, it is exactly as you would expect on a real racetrack. And my only criticism of it is, why does the wet weather handling better than the dry?
Yeah, that's a fair analysis from you, Daniel Correa. So I'll come back to you, Greg Heaney, for some comments on that in just a moment. Corey Lazarus still leading from Dench. We've been following that battle for a little while now. We are 24 minutes into the race. Pit window already underway. David Christensen, Joe Baldwin have jumped in. So too Tristan Koch. Matt Schmidtke's parked up for the night. So too Philip Butler. They're out of business. Not sure what happened there. to either of those two men to lead to their early retirement, their departure from the server, but they are parked up and done. Daniel Criosar might have a little bit of an idea. That's what happened for Phil Butler. Into the gravel. And he's just decided that'll do me. And Daniel Piper has had a spin there. We're just waiting to see what happened to Matt Schmidtke. Don't tell me he's going to get cleaned up on the way through here as Piper's coming back onto the track. No. This is what happened to Matt Schmidtke. Rear end turn 1. Did he find the wall or not? No. But he's just decided, you know what? 3 spins is more than enough. Okay, so there's the lay of the land. What I'm interested to learn now is how far into the window these blokes will go, how deep into this race they'll run before they pull the trigger and come in for the top up, the splash and dash. But I agree with what you're saying, and I'm a big believer in, and this comes back to a couple of real-world experiences in the broadcasting field of things. If you're going to do things, you've got to do the small things right to do the big things well. If you're going to do something, do it properly the first time. So the fact that iRacing, I mean, there have been millions of people begging, pleading, screaming for this for years and years and years. And I think we can now say, as impatient as we've been, Greg Heaney, the wait's well and truly been worth it.
Oh, most definitely. Honestly, yes, they've been on the soon trademark bandwagon for a while, but I've all credit to them for taking their time to get it right.
Corey Lazarus, how long can he hold Dench at bay for? That's Lazarus, Dench, Hayne and Knight. 1, 2, 3 and 4. To the end of the back straight. See, that little side chute there, that left-hander is where MotoGP riders would normally depart. This end of the circuit I'd never seen used in motorsport competition prior to our arrival here when the track first dropped on iRacing. Dench, lunge under brakes, lunge, gotcha. Snatches the lead away out of the grasp of Corey Lazarus and decides that now on lap 14 is the time to lead from the front. Just lures you into that false sense of security and waits for his moment and pounces. And he did it well, and he executed it to a T. That was brilliant from Matt Dench and clinical as per usual.
I thought he would have just waited to jump him in the pit lane because he's sat behind him long enough that he's probably saved enough fuel to short fill it.
And that's what he usually does. That's his usual tactic, his usual gameplay. But on this occasion, no, I'll lead from the front for a lap, and I'll still pip them on the lane. Is probably his thought process. Geez, that was a moment from Lazarus, wasn't it? Had to catch the steering wheel.
Yeah, see, so that's the downside of doing that clutch in. You've got to be really mindful about the gear that you're in and the revs that the car is under when you re-engage that clutch. So what happened was Corey had gone in to try and get that extra fuel save. When he came back up, just a little bit too many revs. Obviously, the Porsche does not have traction control, so it spun up those tyres, and he just had to do a little bit of a correct. Probably not a brown pants moment, but he definitely would have been thinking twice.
Exactly. They are such a twitchy car, though, the Porsches, aren't they? We've heard driver reviews on this car ever since it dropped. The rear end synonymous with sending passengers for a spin or sending drivers into the passenger seat and taking control off them. And right here and now, a critical moment in the race because Denchi's cleared out 0.7 of the good. Lazarus, Hayne, Knight, Fung Wong, Lavis. And then we go back to Fitzpatrick, Snadden, Sharp and Christensen, the top 10. But Lazarus in second place at the moment, having led the opening 13 laps, is going to sit there and follow Dench around for another lap. We get on to lap 15. This will be 75% three-quarter race distance now for you at the end of this next lap, ladies and gentlemen. And still they go to turn 1. Dench, Lazarus, Hayne and Knight. Dale Sharp's been in to top up and go again. The top 8 in this race yet to stop. Everybody else has stopped. Field not yet cleansed. Jeez, it's a big night, a busy night on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Benchy, the leader at the Aragón circuit. Yeah, it's looking ominous now. There's no doubt about that. Although that being said, Greg Heaney, we've said it before, we'll say it again in GT3 and Porsche. It's great to know that someone like Denchi continues to turn on up, rack up the championships, rack up the statistics, because still, I mean, even to this day, he remains the benchmark. He remains the moving goalpost, essentially. That's what you're striving to match, if not beat.
Oh, for sure. It would be nice, though, occasionally if he didn't show up for a GT3 race, but we can always hope. But no, all credit to him for he's, well, absolutely, to be honest, phenomenal, as he has an off-track by the look of it there. Well, that was the car ahead of him. But no, he's, yeah, all credit to him. He's a damn good driver. I know he was behind me at some point on Monday night, and I'm just like, I'm not even going to bother trying to fight this. I'm just going to let him go because he's going to go past me anyway, so I'll just make it easy. But yeah, no, it's yeah, as you say, the moving goalpost very much so. It seems like he's almost like Fernando or any of the other top spec drivers. You put him in a car and they can just drive the wheels off it.
Indeed.
Well, we've got lap traffic here now.
Yes, so Denchi goes around the outside. Lap traffic continues on.
So Todd Hayden and Jared Knight are coming in, I believe.
Yep, and that was Tristan Koch, was it, that they've just gone past?
Yes, that's correct.
In the HDS racing car. Whoa!
Ooh, as he goes off the track there.
Todd Hayden and Jared Knight, his teammates, come to the lane. They're in. Top up, splash and dash go. So 15 was the critical number for them. These guys stretching out to 16, which is 4/5 race distance for them. We're racing towards that 20-lap marker, ladies and gentlemen. The 40-minute mark will be when the checkered flag flies on this race. The first time past the sticks after that 40 minutes elapses. David Baz on pit road now as well. Open fight still being led by Chuk Fung Wong from Adam Lavis, Blake Fitzpatrick, Dale Sharp and David Christensen, the top five, as Fung Wong and Lavis and Fitzpatrick complete their splash and dash. And that will mean that the open component of the field is cleansed now. Oh, geez, it's been a hell of a day. The closing stages of this race falling into Denchi's lap. He's taken complete control of it, and he's building a buffer. 1.5 seconds to good now on Corey Lazarus.
Yeah, he's also looking like he's definitely giving it a bit more berries through some of these corners. From what I've seen, he's had a couple of offs this lap already.
100%. A couple of the laps that he said, in which he would have taken the fastest lap of the race, did not technically count because he had off track. So what this means to me is, Zach, you alluded to earlier that you would have thought that maybe he'd stay behind a couple more laps rather than overtake. And I think Matt thought, he knew that he had the pace advantage, and he was probably sat behind Corey too long and thought, if I can stretch this out, then I'll win in the pits. See, as Corey comes in, because Corey knows he saw that gap go from 1 to 1.7 seconds. So Corey has decided to come in and try and undercut. We'll see if that works for him the next time by. But Matthew Dench obviously had the pace advantage here. He crossed the line there with a 1:59.41, which does count. I believe that will be the fastest lap of the race thus far. I don't see a purple box around it, but it's not marked red, so I don't think he had an off track for that. But what this tells us is you're seeing him push harder, which means he's feeling more pressure. So whatever Corey Lazarus is doing is working. Now, the question will be here is, Dench always has these things that he can pull out of a hat, right? One is fuel saving, but Corey seems to be matching him on that now. So now Matthew turns to the pace, but Corey didn't just let him run away. He got away slightly, but he was right there with him. So now the question is going to be, is Matthew Dench trying to basically put more pace on track right now, have a shorter pit stop, and then fuel save like hell at the back end? Which he did, I believe, either the round previous or the round before that. And he voiced his concerns in the commentary box with you. Or is it just a matter of he thinks that he's got the pace, he's going to squeeze this out, he'll have a regular pit stop because now he's got that gap? I guess we'll wait and see.
We are going to wait and see indeed. But the fact that Lazarus got to 16 means that 17 seems like it might be that threshold for him. We're going to find out momentarily because he's on his way down the back straight. you've got Daniel Caressa, Greg Heaney, Zach Cabin with you on a Thursday night, week 7 of term 1. The Spreyton side of Thursday night motorsport offering is the dessert feature, the dessert aspect of the night now for you from MotorLand Aragón on the back of 3 very nice parts of main course feed for you, ladies and gentlemen, through the Spreyton side of Formula V Championship. He's going again. He's going again. So Spreyton side of Formula V, of course, was from Le Mans. That was enough to feast on for your main course tonight. And now Denchi doing Denchi things with 3 laps to go. And there is no change. It is 3. There is no change on that. We've worked that out pretty early in the piece. 2 minutes point 1:37 for Dench, the fastest lap of the race. This is a good juicy battle though. Todd Hayne and Jared Knight. What would your advice be if it was teammates fighting on the racetrack, Greg Heaney, being immersed within a team in your own right, mate? If it was one of your teammates, would there be any multi-21s going on here?
No, it'd be full send, just don't kill me.
Yeah.
As it should be.
I like it.
As it should be.
That's what I told my boys. It's like, if you're faster than me, I'll let you go, if they're behind me. Otherwise, it's me trying to catch them. But it's just just game on. Just don't kill each other.
Just don't kill each other. I like that advice, and very sound advice as well.
And just to the point made before of Matty Dench being able to save fuel and on-track pace and everything of that. Flashback to last season, we did GT3s around Fuji for the hour race.
Yep.
Remember, he did that on one stop.
He did. Yep. He absolutely did.
What did you say we had? 3 laps to go. He'd been sitting behind Lazarus for a fair chunk of time there. I wouldn't, to be honest, put it past him to possibly do this on no stops, but who knows?
Not at all. And that's the thing as well, because there was a week I wasn't here. I think it might have been, strangely and cruelly enough, it might have been Cam Bartholomew's funeral. I wasn't here, and I got back into... Oh, no, there he is. He's stopping now. It's the end of lap 18. There are 2 laps to go. It's the quickest splash and dash you'll ever see for Matt Dench. I'll come back to that point in a moment just to put a full stop on it. But Matt Dench is on the lane and in his box. Chug-a-lugging to the line. Must be running on fumes. Here we go.
It's going to be close.
2, 3, 4, 5, gone. See you later. Everybody else was 6 and 7s. That's the class of the man. Round onto the mains. That is Corey Lazarus heading out the main straight into turn 1. There is Matt Dench. He's done it again. 2.6 to the good. Dench has done it again. We're not even surprised at this point. I mean, this is the class of the man. What I was going to say was, remember a couple of weeks ago, Daniel Caressa, there was a fair bit of a SH1T storm regarding the fuel save conjecture. And as a result of that, I'm pretty sure it was manipulated behind the scenes by Adam Lavis to a point where the fuel save would become, without a safety car, almost a complete impossibility. And Dench has gone out and proven that tonight, because if he can't get to 40 minutes, no one's going to.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the delicate balance of running a series like this, is you've got to try and find that balance, basically, of do we want to extend the racing on track and minimize the amount of effect that fuel has on the final results, or do we want to reward those who put in the time and effort to learn how to fuel save? See, I am definitely on the fuel save camp. I think it is a driver's skill, and what is motorsport if not showcasing driver skill? Now, I can understand from a driver perspective, the right pedal should be flat to the floor at all times. I get that. I agree somewhat when I'm driving, but when you have that, you tend to just have a processional race. Sometimes people go, oh no, Corey!
Oh, can you believe that? Hayne and Knight go on through, and Corey Lazarus, any chance he had of catching Matt Dench has now evaporated, and any chance he had of a podium finish has gone up in smoke as well.
Oh, what is
roofed it
that?
the wrong way. And then he's ended up driving back onto the other side of the racetrack to drive the hairpin again.
Oh,
jeez.
That's so unfortunate. It's
Yep.
this type of stuff.
Yep.
I swear to
The
God,
1%ers.
Matthew Dench must have a direct line to God or something.
I
Because
think so.
every single time someone just touches the back of his car, just when you think, here we go, someone's got it, something happens. Whether it's Matthew Dench clicks it up another gear or a slight mistake. And you can tell, like, I'll let Corey tell us if he decides to grace us in the commentary box after the race. But you can tell that in Corey's mind, right, he's going like, all right, I've got to nail this. I've got to get this. And the problem is when you start thinking about that, that's when the cracks start to form. So I can tell he's probably fuming underneath that helmet of his, being like, God damn it. Like, all I had to do was not mess that up. But here's the other side of that story. We've seen the progress that he's had from last season to this season. We see the progress that he makes race to race. And so to me, it's like, focus on the good. Like, he's really fighting up there now. And it'll only take a matter of time before those mistakes get ironed out. The fuel saving gets better. The pace under fuel saving gets better. And this should be like a sign to everyone else as well. See, Matt can do it. Now Corey's doing it. So you can too. It just depends on how much effort and time and practice you want to put into it.
Indeed.
So there we go.
Last lap board. Oh, well, it's already gone.
No, that's it. Yeah.
That is it.
Focus,
yeah. Oh, have a look at the two teammates.
That was a lot of
their way
two.
across the line.
If I was Jared, I would have snuck it in.
So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And Matty Dench has done it again. So, he came up onto the main straight. He took the checkered flag. The winning margin ends up being 9.8 seconds. Corey Lazarus down the road, dejected. 25 seconds down on Dench. He basically conceded and limped his way back to the line to take fourth place. Todd Hayne and Jared Knight end up on the podium as a result of Corey Lazarus's only mistake of the night, and that's all it takes. He lit the rear end up coming out of the left-hander at the end of the back straight, and then went back through the left-hander at the end of the back straight to get himself back in the right direction. And Matt Dench,
You reckon he's happy?
laps it up at the end of round 7 with whatever fuel's left in the tank. He's just going to burn it here with these donuts and burnouts, and he's earned the right to do that right now, and rightly so. Well done to him. Congratulations. Another win in the Spreyton Cider Porsche Cup, and a deserved one as well. Played the game, had to play the game, and played it well. Just sat there, bided his time, waited for his moment. And Corey Lazarus opened the door up at the start of lap 14 for him. Credit to Lazarus because, I mean, they're all making little incremental inroads into Dench's advantage. There's no doubt about that. Everybody is slowly but surely, keeping him honest. But from fourth on the grid to second at turn 1, and then just sat there, played the game, played it well. Can't get home on 0 stops these days, but it didn't matter because he won by 9 seconds in the end, and he did it with the fastest lap of the race as well, which will surprise nobody. Dench, Hayne, Knight, Fung Wong, Lavis, Snadden. So Fung Wong wins from Lavis and Sharp in the open split. Christensen, Baldwin and Fitzpatrick make up the top 10. And Greg Heaney, anything else you've got to add, mate? Because I feel as though there was something I was going to ask you earlier, and then all hell broke loose with Dench and Lazarus, and then obviously pit stops and the like, and we never got back to you.
No, it's all good. I was going to say, is anybody after a set of slightly used Michelin Porsche rear tyres?
No.
I know where we can find them.
Yeah, absolutely. On the on the rims of the number one, and he's done it again. I mean, that now makes it almost impossible for anyone to beat him from here, I'd say. That was that spin at the bottom of the circuit was a real costly moment for Lazarus as it drops him to fourth. He loses a few points as a result of that. And then watch this race. We never actually, that's a good point, Daniel Correa. We never saw a replay of the start. We're seeing it now, and it was just an absolute bloody blinder from Denchi. He had his nose in front through turn one, and had turn two been a left-hander, he would have been perfectly positioned, but he just let Lazarus go, and he didn't want to force the issue. Tucked in, played the game, got 18 laps out of the tank. He went 2 further than anybody else in the field, and not just 1 further, 2 further, just to add insult to injury. And that brought him home in one piece.
Just watching that start back, because I obviously was practice driving at the time, the teammates got off the line pretty well. The Lazarus almost didn't get away. Watching it back.
Yeah, bogged it down a little bit. They did well actually to hold off Knight and Hayne. That was a blinder of a start from Denchi though. I mean, we talk about his 1 lap pace, we talk about his fuel saving. I don't think I've ever seen him nail a start as well as that.
No, yeah, you're definitely right. He certainly got off the line pretty quick. But being some of the other boys have turned up, I'll leave you to it, gents. Good chatting with you. I'll jump off and you can have a chat with the other boys.
Hey, Greg, we appreciate you jumping on in the first place, mate. Doing a little bit of overtime with us on a Thursday night. Can't wait to get more insights from you with regards to the rain server going forward. I loved what you said about Denchi there earlier, the fact that he's in the series, in our league, in our club. That gives everybody something to aim for, as only Nighty and Haney will attest here in just a few moments' time. But good luck to you and your team here on Monday night, and we'll touch base after that, mate.
No worries. Cheers, boys.
We've been talking about the rain server at length. We didn't see any rain tonight, but we were reliably informed that it's coming to the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club in a few weeks' time, in the final few weeks of the term, I should say. Jared Knight and Todd Hayne are here. Todd Hayne, well done. Not too keen to get going tonight. No jump start from you. And you reaped the reward of second, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I managed to wait until after the green flag this time before I took off, so that was good. But no, it was a pretty cruisy race, that one. It just sort of jumped in the fuel saving train and hope Denchi and Corey come together, and they didn't, but Corey made a mistake on his own, so sort of handed us P2.
And that was the interesting thing too, because Denchi made a blinder, and then all of a sudden any hope that you blokes had of somewhat keeping him at bay evaporated, and you just had to tuck him behind and hope that you could latch on and follow. You two opted to run the same strategy, coming into pit at the end of lap 15, whereas Lazarus went 1 lap further, Denchi went 3 laps further. Could you have stretched it any further than what you did?
Yeah, it could have gone a few more laps. We're starting to hit a few back markers, so we thought, might as well jump in now and get the fuel done and see if we can get a few good laps in and close the gap a bit, but too quick.
Indeed, and that's been part of the course this season. You guys have you've known where those goalposts are, but it's just a case of working your way towards driving through those goalposts rather than just following them home. What's the key to narrowing that gap to the likes of, well, I mean, obviously Corey's mistake aside, Corey and Denchi going forward, in your opinion?
I think it's just more time in the cars. It's I think we've closed the gap a little bit, especially in qualifying. Qualifying super quick. I think we're closing the gap, which is good. Denchi only won by about 7 seconds or 8 seconds tonight, so rather than 20 or 30 seconds, so that was good.
Yeah. 8 seconds over a 20 lap race, so what's that? He's put 0.8 of a second on you throughout the course of 0.4 of a second on you throughout the course of each lap, if you want to divvy it up that way. I mean, that's it's not much, but it's everything at the same time. The guy's superhuman, and it looks like he could well wrap up the title next week if he's got his numbers in a line, his ducks in the line.
Yeah, no, he's super quick, but Corey's right there with him now too. But we'll keep chipping away and see if we can't back him down. Maybe next season.
The jump start aside and getting poleaxed at Brands Hatch as well, as an innocent bystander, despite those moments, you've had a reasonably good showing this season yourself.
Yeah, well, it's my first season in the car, so I'm still learning it a little bit. But yeah, getting used to it and starting to figure out how to drive it now, and yeah, having a bit of fun with it.
Your
having a bit of trouble with the
season,
starts, but
yes, I was going to say your first season in the car, but it's not 90's first season in the car. However, I feel as though you already like the car more than 90 ever will.
yeah, I do enjoy the car actually. I come out of the V8, so I'm used to the car moving around a bit and sliding. So no, I really enjoy it. It's good fun.
And speaking of sliding, what about was the showmanship from you blokes pre-planned as you were weaving your way across the line there?
Yeah, we had a bit of a chat before the end.
Yeah,
Thought it looked nice on a camera.
It did. It looked fantastic. I got caught up in listening to what Daniel and Greg were saying. I completely missed the checkered flag waving, to be honest with you. But then I saw you two blokes carrying on. I was like, hang on, we're over. We're done here. Well done. Stay with me. I'm coming back to you in a moment. Get your thoughts in the final 3 weeks. In the meantime, 90. Would that be a fair assumption, the comments I just made there, that Todd already likes the car more than you do?
Yeah, no, that'd be fair.
Yeah.
He's much faster than me too. I was just lucky enough to sort of like the track combo this week, and I probably found a little bit of pace. But overall, yeah, Toddy's much quicker than I am. He's up there with the top guys, Denchi and Corey and Tao and those guys. But yeah, that's probably the most enjoyable 992 race I've had for a long time. So I guess that's a win.
Yeah, it is indeed. And speaking of enjoyable races, Joe Baldwin last week said he wouldn't be here, and he ended up on the circuit. We'll get to him in just a moment, get his thoughts on Aragón. In the meantime, 90, yep. Corey's one little slip up was enough for you to grab yourself a podium finish, and that's a great showing for you guys to be second and third across the line. What's the key as far as you're concerned to being the first of the HTS stable across the line rather than the second, please?
Probably just more laps. I think Todd's putting a few practice laps in each week, and yeah, I don't know, I'm sort of just floating in here and there. So yeah, not putting the laps in during the week is probably detrimental. But if I can sort of take that approach and still jag a podium, it's not too bad.
I was saying, we were saying mid-call, actually, it might have been this very point that I wanted to get Greg Heaney's thoughts on, but I ended up getting Daniel Correa-Sar's. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking, well, I wasn't because I wasn't here, but you blokes were talking rather controversially about disdain for fuel saving, this, that, whatever. And then obviously, I think it might have been the Silverstone round that came into question. And all of a sudden, Adam Lavis tinkers with the settings a little bit, rips a couple of litres out of the fuel tank capacity that you're starting with and that you're able to run with. And all of a sudden, no longer can we do a 40-minute stint on 0 stops. So that element of it's gone, but there's still something to be said for being able to save some juice across the course of a 40-minute race to minimise that time stationary in pit lane.
Yeah, definitely. I thought I was actually in a fairly good position. I thought I might have jumped Todd in the stop tonight. I was saving a bucket load, just clutching in and whatnot. But yeah, no, he was obviously able to save his own. And I was actually, when I saw Denchi hadn't come in after 2 laps after we'd been in, I was thinking, yeah, that dreaded thought. I'm like, oh no, he's going to do the no stopper again. But yeah, no, it was nice to see that even the great man couldn't stretch this tank this week.
Exactly. Good signs for all and sundry. Todd, your thoughts on the topic of fuel saving?
I'm not real good at fuel saving. I'm used to sort of running flat out, so it's a new thing to me as well. But I'm getting the hang of that.
Yep.
I don't know how I managed to beat J-Bone out of the pits tonight because I didn't think I was saving that much fuel, but apparently I was. So I must be getting better at it if I don't even realise I'm doing it.
No, well, you've done very well tonight. Now, talk to me before I get to Denchi, before I get to Trucker. Did we chuck a sickie yesterday to sink our teeth into the rain server? That was the reason for Greg Heaney's visit into the commentary box tonight. Normally a mainstay on Monday Night Motorsport. He paid us a visit here tonight to talk about the rain server and what his initial thoughts are. So let me ask you guys, have you had a chance to have a crack at it yet and sink your teeth into it?
Yeah, yesterday was a bit of a tough day because a few of the boys were in Discord and having a run in the rain, and I was at work and they were sending messages and pictures and all that sort of stuff, and it was quite painful at work. Yeah, but no, I got home and had a crack at the rain, and iRacing's done a fabulous job on it. It's really, really good. Did some laps around Nürburgring there last night, and it's some of the most fun I've had on the sim since I've started.
It's a complete game changer, isn't it, Nighty?
Yeah, I was one of those gentlemen on Discord early yesterday.
Gentlemen being amongst the I think at this point.
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to be in the middle of a couple of weeks' leave. So, yeah, to say I've put a few laps in the rain is a bit of an understatement. But yeah, like Todd said, it's they've done an unreal job. I think it's certainly evening out the playing field. It's bringing those proper aliens back to the field a little bit, I think.
Yeah, indeed it is. And I guess it is going to shake things up to a degree. But that being said, the cream often still finds a way to rise to the top, as we know. But that being said, there are going to be some shining stars here that probably end up performing better in the rain, 90.
Yeah, 100%. Sort of just notice even just in the practice runs that a couple of sort of lower I rating guys are pushing right up to the top, and they've obviously just got the knack of moving it around in the wet, and that's good to see. And I'm sure we'll see that come Mondays. Or initially for Mondays, because I think that's the only series that we're going to run the wet track, or that's able to run the wet tracks next season. But yeah, we'll just wait and see.
Indeed we will. So, fellas, I'll get your thoughts on next week as far as the Porsches are concerned in just a moment. Let's remind actually everybody of the schedule of what's coming up. We know we've got Spa and Interlagos to finish us off, but Circuit Park Zandvoort next week, and I do believe it's a sprint round as well, the last of the regular two-race sprint rounds of the season, and then 60 minutes around Spa, and then on to Interlagos for the triple treat. So that'll be good fun. Jared Knights, thank you. Todd Hayne, thank you. Get your thoughts on that very shortly. Let's bring in Matt Dench and Joe Baldwin now. Hey, Trucker, what was it? Fifth in split. Not too bad for a circuit that you didn't think you'd like in the slightest.
No, I probably had a better run at it this time than the last time we were here for the first 5 laps. Yeah, it didn't qualify as well, but that's par for the course for me. But I think I ended up in 6th after lap 1 or something, and but once I sort of got going, I lost my rhythm, and it's very much I don't know what the magic is here. I haven't found it. I'm like 4 seconds or 3 seconds off the aliens up the front there, so I'll just keep plodding around like a plonker if ever we come here, I suppose.
Yep. I've just noticed that 90's put his microphone on mute. I've also got to ask you about Formula V before you go too, please. So all the more reason to keep the 92 around a little while longer. It might be a no comment situation, but I'm still going to ask the question. Joe, in saying all of that though, not a bad points haul for the championship. I mean, Chook Fung Wong's come up and got the job done. Adam's 2nd and you down in 5th. But, at the end of the day, until we see how the next 3 rounds play out, if something was to go awry in those 3, the points haul here will serve you well, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. You got a lot of points. You don't know what could happen next week. You could have a power failure like here a month or so
yes.
ago.
Yep.
Power go down in WA for 8 hours, so I could have a drop week through something like that. You don't know, so the points could end up valuable at the end of the season. I don't think I'll get up on the podium. I missed a couple of rounds early, but yeah, certainly trying to log laps and just get some valuable points in the bank there.
I love how you're talking about an 8-hour power outage, trucker. I live in Queensland. We're 112 years and 1 hour behind. I'm surprised the bloody thing's on in the first instance, but that's okay. Hey,
monkey with a grinding organ out there, haven't you? And that how you get your power.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, horse and cart going into town today, which actually probably would have been better than driving on the road with some of the idiots. But anyway, let's. Fair income, there was some bad stuff going on today, and it was only a 10-minute drive into town. It was enough to just ruin the mood. Let's get your thoughts on the next couple of weeks though, because obviously Formula V around Lebanon next week. I won't be here for that. I'm also missing the Zandvoort aspect of the Porsche Cup, but Circuit Park Zandvoort, is that a circuit that you like more or less than Aragón, please?
Oh, a lot more. I love the place. It's a lot of fun. Just done a lot of laps there too. Like, it's been in the service for a long time, so I'm probably a lot more familiar with it than this place, that's for sure. But Lebanon in the V's, I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny that I'll be there. I haven't had much luck at that place.
The interesting thing for mine, when we look at Zandvoort, and I'll get the other guys to chime in on this in just a moment. I'll ask Denchi about it too. Is it reminds me, it's got a real British feel to it, that circuit, in terms of just narrow and limited overtaking opportunities, nothing else.
Yeah, and a lot of undulation, and like the elevation going up around. From the new bank hairpin right up through around to the double right in the back section, it's fun. You got the crests, and it's off camber as you come over the hill, and you got to try and keep the car under you and not slide and that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's there's not a lot of straight braking zones through that section, which makes it tough as well. Which is it's all a challenge. I've just got to be good in my split, if I can keep the pace in the open split there, which I should be able to. I've done a few laps there. I enjoy the place. I might even go and do a bit of practice, you know. So certainly looking forward to Zandvoort anyway.
All right, before I bring Denchi into the conversation and ask the other two blokes about Zandvoort, your thoughts, your initial impressions on rain. Have you had a chance to have a crack at anything yet?
Absolutely incredible. It's we had a run last night. I actually had to go to an appointment, so I didn't get to continue on in the race, but we ran the 86s last night, and it started raining halfway through lap 2, and I think the implementation's great. It's not like any of the other games,
no,
like ACC and whatnot. When it dries, the whole place dries. Sort of, whereas here, when the track dries out, even once the actual main track's dry, when you get up against the curbs, like on the insides, there's a strip of water there. If you run through that, it upsets the car and it'll throw spray out the back. And that's not something that I thought iRacing would have got so right. And the actual handling in the rain is really, really good. It's on point. So, and with the couple of new tracks that we've got now as well. I went and did a bit of at Marco Simoncelli there. I went around there in the 86 in a torrential downpour, and it was so much fun. It sort of makes sense the way they've done it. So yeah, just tip of the hat to iRacing. I think they've nailed it. It's still not 100%. There's still a couple of little things that they'll need to get right. Like, doesn't matter whether you're idling down pit lane or doing 200 mile an hour, the drops go at the same speed up the window, but that's just nitpicky stuff, but they'll get on top of all that sort of stuff. It's hashtag soon. Well, now it's here, and it's fantastic.
Indeed it is, and again, worth the wait, I think, has been the general consensus from all and sundry tonight, because it's only something that their clientele have been begging and bloody well pleading for so many years, and now because they put the time and the effort in behind the scenes to do things right, do it properly, rather than do it haphazardly and have to reset it and update it and all that sort of stuff. they've taken the time, they've invested, you know, resources and infrastructure and everything else into throwing everything at this thing and then just reinventing the wheel with it, which is really good to see. So, I mean, I know I hang a lot of stick in their general direction, Joe, at the best of times, but I'm really impressed with what I've seen so far.
Oh, look, yeah, I think the weight's worth it, and iRacing, kudos to iRacing, they could have rushed it out in the last build, and they've said that, they could have put it out in the last build, but they weren't happy with it. So they've been able to implement it with more cars like the GT3 field, and I don't think I've heard anyone be negative about it. It's been accepted by the community as a whole really, really well. So, and I would have much rather them take the 2 years. I think it was over 2 years ago they announced they were going to do it. So it's taken them a long time to do it, but the weight's definitely been worth it. So yeah, well done to them.
Just adds a huge element of realism to the whole experience, which we're all excited about. Matty Dench, let's bring you in at this point in time. Stay with me, trucker. Hey, well done, mate. Congratulations. Bided your time, waited for your moment, got the job done. You went 18 laps on the tank. Could you have gone 19 or not?
I mean, we could have made it to the end if we really, really tried, but yeah, we wouldn't have been able to run at the front though. So yeah, we would have had to count on the skipping the pit stop to win.
That answers a few questions that we had for you, because again, it was a topic of discussion a couple of weeks ago. As you know, a lot of people up in arms about the fuel saving and people being able to zero stop at this and that. And Adam Lavis has really reinvented the wheel there. He's just docked a couple of % off the fuel tank capacity, and it pretty much has ensured that no one, with the exception of you, who loves a challenge, obviously, would have been able to make it without a splash and dash. But that is a point in its own right, and I didn't get to make it during the call, mate. You do love a challenge. Would it have been a bridge too far, though? Would you, like, I mean, if you'd have done your calculations on what number you would have been able to run or would have had to have run at, plus the time of the guys around you, was it safer to just play the cards the way you did?
Well, sitting on the grid, I got the calculator out and worked out how much fuel I needed to use per lap to actually make it to the end, and I was like questionable, like do I do it, do I not? And then yeah, no, like we were maybe 0.3 of a litre off the whole, like every lap, so we could have saved that extra 0.3 a lap, but we wouldn't have been able to run at the front. So
yeah, and running at the front was important in its own right, in the way that you were still able to save some fuel compared to the guys around you as we went. Let's go right back to the start, Denji. What an absolute blinder of a jump from you. Sure, fourth in qualifying, which is rare in its own right, but a blinder of a start. And you had your nose in front through turn one, and had the outside been the inside for turn two, had it been a left-hander or the right-hander, you could well have led the thing from the front.
yeah, I think, I don't know if I got a really good start or the car ahead got a bit of a bad start, but maybe it was both, and yeah, we just shot down the inside, and I thought about going a bit harder into the corner just to try and push my way to the front there, but we just let Corey go and decided to tuck in behind him.
Well, he says the car ahead of me. I'm not sure whether they got a good start or a bad start. Todd Hayne, that was you. Your thoughts, please?
Yeah, it was the best start I've ever had in the Porsche Cup car, so no, but it wasn't the best. They could still get better. Bench's start was unreal though. He got the whole feel on the start, so that was unreal.
It was superhuman, no doubt about that. It was very good to see. Because it just shook things up enough for us to keep it interesting. Denchi, you could have let it from the front if you wanted to, but tactically speaking, it probably served you well to tuck in behind and follow Corey.
Yeah, I mean, being the second car, you can always save a bit more fuel than the lead car. So you know, yes. If they want to lead, then I'll gladly let them. You know.
Yep. No. We didn't. We were halfway through making the call that if anyone would have been able to take on the challenge that Adam Lavis had set out, it would have been you. And then all of a sudden, the theory got thrown out the window and blown to pieces because you came down pit lane. A 5-second stop, fastest lap of the race. You ticked all the boxes again, mate. Just not pole position. However, your lead is almost insurmountable now. There's a real distinct chance that if I've done my numbers right, you could technically wrap this thing up as early as next week rather than the week after. It's been a hell of a season for you.
Yeah, it'll be probably the best season in terms of points if I can wrap it up by next week. That'll be nice and handy. Get a couple weeks off.
I'm hoping Adam Lavis is on deck next Thursday night to be able to crunch the numbers for us so that we can tell you definitively one way or another. But it is always hard to tell, accurately based on different points matrices, different drop rounds being applied week in, week out. That always changes between here and the checkered flag. I don't think there's much else I have to ask you with regards to the race because we saw it play out on the screen. We had Greg Eny in here talking a few different things. We watched you just tuck in and follow Corey. It looked like no one was in a real hurry to pull the trigger until you decided to at the start of lap 14. You opted that then was the right moment. You nominated that as the right moment to pull out of the draft and go for it. And I guess the question is, why then?
Well, I had a couple of few laps left to go before I had to stop, so I just wanted to try and get it in the lead there and see if I could maybe pull a bit of a gap to just help with that after pit cycle gap. So.
Indeed, mate. Well done. Now, obviously, on to the big talking points of the week that was. The rain server has arrived. It was one hell of a big upload from iRacing. There were actually delays in distributing it. It's so big it was. But in saying that, it's been worth the wait. The general consensus has been nothing short of how good is this, and it doesn't seem like it's just a novelty flavour of the month vibe that's going on here. Everyone's excited to sink the teeth into this on a regular basis going forward. How much time have you spent on racetracks in rain servers over the last 48 hours, and were you one of the many iRacing people that were either lucky enough to have the day off work yesterday or chucked a sickie to ensure they had the day off yesterday?
No, I had to wait the whole day before I got home to download it. But I jumped in when I got home and loaded up some of a GP circuit with some pretty heavy rain, and it was little tricky because loaded in. I was like, all right, let's see what slick tyres do, and I made it to the turn 1 outside wall pretty quickly. But
yes,
with the wet tyres on there, it was quite enjoyable. Little tricky to get used to, but about 10 laps in, I had a bit of a handle on the car and driving it, so it was pretty fun.
10 laps in, that's ominous signs for everybody else, let me tell you. How do you guys feel? I can ask Jared and Denchi this because we go to Spa for the GT finale in a few weeks. How do you feel about the possibility of a race with mixed weather just to spice the strategy game up and throw it completely out the window?
I think with the rain being an option, it needs to be thrown in there for the last couple of rounds for sure.
Okay. Do you have any preference on whether it's wet, dry, or just straight out wet, or whether it's come and go?
I mean, you can do a whole mixture of it. It doesn't bother me as long as there's some wet weather in there and we can throw the car around nice and sideways. It should be fun.
I'm all for it. I like where he's going with it. I'm a big fan of the idea. Hey, let's quickly get Nighty's thoughts on that because you'll be here on a Monday night as well. Are you one of those? I mean, from a strategic standpoint, if it was me, I'd be going off my absolute tits if it was a case of me having to call the shots and having to make those choices with regards to wet, dry, wet. I would much rather it probably tip down or stay dry. Where do you sit with it?
Oh, I'm neither here nor there. It's one thing I've sort of noticed doing a couple of wet sessions is that actually, unless it's sort of baking hot or the wind's up, it actually takes quite a while for the whole track to dry and slick tyres be an actual viable option. So I don't know, unless Adam sets it for 45 degrees in Spa, which I don't think would ever happen. Then I think 90 minutes probably isn't enough time to do maybe a dry wet dry or something. It's probably just going to be a half. Sort of see how you go there, but I'm actually not sure if I'm going to be able to make that round, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess for sort of as a spectacle, yeah, it's definitely a thumbs up. I think we've sort of seen that the not all the GT3s are capable of the wet with the Macca and the Ford, but I don't think anyone, at least in the pro splits, not running that car. So I think we should be good to go.
I was going to say I don't think that'll matter in the slightest up here. Maybe when new GT cars are dropped, Mustang. Maybe that'll be a different story. We'll wait and see. Nighty, I'll start with you. I'll go around the room. I'll ask you your thoughts on Zandvoort, which is the next stop for the Porsches. I mean, your love-hate relationship with this car continues. Actually, no, hold off. Come to Zandvoort in a moment. Let's go back to Circuit de la Sarthe, please. I almost forgot about this, and I was the one that said that I had to come back to it. Nice to see you on the Formula V grid. Thanks for gracing us with your presence there, but unfortunately, you did a Chris Whitaker. You took off after race 2. Whitaker sometimes doesn't even stick around that long. But your thoughts on Formula V, La Sarthe, hit miss. The pack had to stay together and stay clean to make it more of a spectacle, but it looked good from where I was sitting.
Yeah, to say the V's at Le Mans is a novelty is an understatement. That was it was foot to the floor for 95% of the race, and all the laps
That was great.
and
Sorry, Joe, are we keeping you awake, mate?
No, that's just the hangover from the V race, I think.
Nighty, you were well positioned in that second race, and then all of a sudden you were in the dirt, conceding. I think it was the battle for 5th and 6th at the time, just conceding that you'd happily come home 7th.
Yeah, I do not do any laps in the V, so I've got no idea how to extract pace out of it. I had Pete Matson sort of pushing me along in the second race there, trying to track down. I can't remember who was in front of us, but that wasn't happening. But well, I think it was might have been Trucker in that first race down the first part of the Mulsanne straight. Was that right with the collision?
Yes.
Took about 5 of us out.
Actually, I never got to ask John Merritt whether he sustained any wheel alignment issues as a result of that contact, Trucker. To be honest, it didn't seem like it, because as long as he had a toe, he was okay.
Certainly didn't hurt his pace anyway.
No, not at all. But it looked as though it was a sizable touch. Well, it must have been to set off the chain reaction that it did, sent you pirouetting. But unfortunately, everybody else behind that was collateral. Excellent. Right, let's talk Zandvoort. I'll put you out of your misery, Nighty. Let's talk Zandvoort. Tight circuit, technical circuit. It's again, it has its fans and it has its haters. I mean, I'm not here next Thursday night. I'm off to Griffith next week for the Riverina Cup karting event. But I'll try and watch on from home. The reality of the matter is it's going to be a good race because it is tight, it's technical, limited overtaking opportunities, and also 2 bites at the cherry with the split grid format too. Second race and invert top 10.
Yeah, I'm a bit like Trucker. I love that track. It's especially since the new update with the banking at turn 4 and then the final corner there. It's a great track, nice flowing track. Suits these cars very well. It is difficult to pass, and a lot of braking and turning at the same time. So very easy to make a mistake. But it'd be a good way to lead in. I've actually got a little karting thing myself on the Friday with Ruff. We're just doing a little charity 4-hour race out of Picton. So if you're in the area from about 9:30, 10 o'clock in Picton, just drop by, and I think it'll be about 20 carts going around raising money for charity. So it should be a good day.
get along to that and support it if you can, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think I think Picton's a bit of a detour on the way to Griffith. I don't know if I'll get there, but we'll see how we go. Hey, Jared, well done. Thank you for that. Todd Hayne, your thoughts on Zandvoort before I let you go?
Yeah, I haven't had much experience around Zandvoort, but tight technical tracks work really well for me, so I'm looking forward to getting in and spend a bit of time around there in the Porsche Cup. Should be good.
Indeed, it should be. Indeed. Hey, good luck next week, fellas, and I'll see you the week after. Nighty will, of course, see you on Monday night for GT3 as well. And Trucker, Mountain Men this weekend is a part of a big doubleheader on the platforms of the GSRC, because you guys will be in action Saturday night, and then, of course, the Enduro fires into life on Sunday, first one of the year.
Yeah, that's right. I've got a driving role in that, so I'm going to drive the safety car on Sunday. So hopefully it's not needed if the guys will behave themselves. But Saturday night we're in for a bit of a cracker. We've got the USF 2000, which is a fantastic little car in its own right. Doesn't matter where you race it, so you should put a have a bit of fun up on Mount Panorama on Saturday night.
Indeed, we should. All right, mate, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Go well. Thanks for stopping on by tonight, and well done for persevering with it as well.
Yeah, can't say anything if I'm not determined.
Exactly. And we'll see if that determination carries over to Monday night when the GT3's there as well. Although I was going to say, I didn't even think to ask Denchi about that, because he didn't grace us with his presence for a chat on Monday night just gone. But of course, GT3 is here, so that run just now for Denchi is a nice little warm-up for what's to come. We couldn't do any of this, ladies and gentlemen, without the support of the great people scrolling across the bottom of your screen. They include Waste Options, Spreyton Cider, Player One Sim Gear, Lobesy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. My apologies at the end of the broadcast if I've seemed a little bit distracted tonight. No two ways about it. I have been with everything that I mentioned at the intermission, with Jack Fitzgibbon's passing, people from Cessnock, people from school, etc. and so forth, touching base with regards to all of that. A very, very sad day for the Coalfields community, no doubt about that. And once again, we send our love to all of the Fitzgibbon family. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. This is what we've got to look forward to as far as the rest of week 7 and the bulk of week 8 is concerned. Wings and Slicks is, of course, Super Formula, the Japanese Super Formula cars. Magny Core, the venue, 3-race format, tomorrow 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. More open wheel action, as Joe has already alluded to, on Saturday night, the USF 2000s from Mount Panorama Bathurst. Mountain Men continues 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 32 laps to journey there. Sunday, have a look at this. I'm going to jump in with the boys for the first hour. I'm not sure who they're going to have for the last hour as yet, because I'm off to Suncorp Stadium with the mates to watch the footy that opens up against the Cowboys. But GTP and GT3 from the Boots Circuit at Watkins Glen in upstate New York for the GSRC GT3 Endurance Championship season opener. That is getting underway 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday. It is a 4-hour journey. We'll bring it to you live. Monday night, and also, of course, Pete Matson will have details with regards to where the Oval Supercar Series is Sunday night, no doubt, in the coming days as well. Monday night, Super 2 from Long Beach. That will be a beauty. That'll be all at the pricing conditions in 7:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, no doubt about that. I mean, at the end of the day, Long Beach, Concrete Canyon, wide in parts, tight in others. It's got everything to deliver the great ingredients of what's required to dish up a good car race. Now let's hope the field arrives and plays the game. And we're very excited about that being the 8th round of the championship, and it's a combined split now as well, Super 2 and Super 3, so make a note of that. Then, of course, we get stuck into MotorLand Aragón. The Pro Split first up, the AM Split second up. The AM Split first up, the Pro Split second up. They're not a combined grid, as you know. We will bring you race from both servers, with this being the last of the sprint rounds of the championship. Race 1 over 11 laps, race 2 over 18 laps. That'll be the pro split race. 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time for that. Loads racing up and comers on Tuesday night. Venue to be confirmed, but it'll be the Toyota 86. 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. 3-race format there. Monza for the GT1 Civil War. That will be fun, no doubt about that. 35 minutes Eastern Daylight Time, getting underway 9:15 p.m. 35 minutes the journey. They are blistering fast cars at the best of times, and Monza is the home of horsepower in world motorsport. There's no doubt about that. The temple of speed, I like to call it. So sink teeth into GT1 Civil War Tuesday night as well. Wednesday night, round 8 Willow Springs for GT4, preceded by, that's a reverse grid round, sprint round format, ladies and gentlemen. Top 10 invert for the second race. That's 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, preceded by the Toyota 86s, a 2-race format there, as per usual. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, the venue, and looking forward to that. Next Thursday night, not sure who will be in my position, but someone will be here with Daniel Correa. Circuit delighted on first up. 3 races for Spreyton side of Formula V. Spreyton side of Thursday Night Motorsport, the main course, of course, and then on to the Porsche Cup from Zandvoort. And and that is a sprint round as well for those guys too. So sprint racing right across the board next week. Sprint racing on Monday night, sprint racing on Wednesday night, sprint racing on Thursday night. It's the week of the sprint, and we're looking forward to it immensely. Thursday night motorsport, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. GSRC merch.myshopify.com, merch.tgsrci.com, take you to the same place. All the information you need regarding merchandise in this club and how to get your hands on some of it at those 2 links. The top link, race.tgsrci.com, takes you to a page that'll provide you with more information with regards to what we do, how we do it, and how to sink your teeth into it and get involved. And member numbers are strong at the moment, so come and join one of the biggest sim racing leagues anywhere in Australia. It's well worth your time. And to be fair, Joe, I feel as though this Tempest weather system will actually be a big ratings winner for iRacing. I feel as though it'll be not dissimilar to, but in the same league as the maybe not to the same extent, the swarm of interest they had, the growth they had during the COVID pandemic. I feel as though a few people that might have left the platform and put their rigs away in storage for a little bit might just be tempted to get them back out and have a play again.
Well, look, I think the saying, it's a game changer, gets thrown out way too often, but the temperature
by me more than most,
and the rain, and this is absolutely what you call a sim changer. It really is. It's the excitement and the buzz around iRacing at the moment. You go and you look at your Jimmy Broadbands and your Gamer Muscles and all those guys, Dave Cam, all those guys that are doing the YouTube stuff, and you have a look at the number of views on their rain videos and stuff like that. It's just gone nuts, and for very good reason. Like I say, I did a bit of driving them last night and thought they were incredible. It was incredible. So it's going forward. You know, I can't wait for it to come to the Porsche, this car. I think it's going to make a difficult car even harder to drive, but in the rain, it's just going to be a fantastic challenge, I think. And especially somewhere like Oran Park, a little tight, twisty sort of venue like that. If it's right, I mean, because it never rained at Oran Park when they race there, right? So that's going to be good, I think, once they get it across a few more of the cars in the sim and that sort of stuff. It's going to be great.
Indeed, it's going to be so. Quickly around the grounds as we wrap up here. NRL in favour of the Raiders over the Knights, 28-12. No repeat of the heroics we saw from the Knights in the semi-finals. And at the Sydney Cricket Ground, Sydney 22-point winners over Melbourne in the first game of opening round for the AFL in 2024, 86 points to 64. MotoGP practice, top of the hour. You'll see it on Fox Sports. Formula One practice getting underway from Saudi Arabia at 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow morning. It's 2 hours further up the road in terms of the difference there with the on-track timings of their schedule. Same time zone, but everything's 2 hours later because the race starts 8 o'clock local time, not 6 o'clock local time. You get the idea. So 4 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Monday morning, race start, lights out, and practice getting underway 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow morning. You'll see it on Sky from 12:30 on Fox Sports here in Australia. And, of course, IndyCar coming up on Monday morning as well. Grand Prix St. Petersburg, that's on Stan. NASCAR on Fox. Jesus, a lot of motorsport on this weekend. You've got the best seat in the house for all of it, and it's a great time of the year. We're excited, we're pumped, we're looking forward to what's ahead here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. But now, having worked the last 3 hours, I can go and put my feet up and play spectator for a little bit with Formula One practice. Your sport for choice. Get out and support any local sport and local motorsport happening around your region this weekend, folks. Don't forget to tune in here on Sunday for the coverage of the Enduro. Don't forget also to join me on West Breville Radio on Sunday morning as well. There's a subtle plug from 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at Sports Clubhouse. And I think we're just about done. Anything else to add, Daniel Correa, Joe Baldwin?
No, you're right. You go first, Sam.
No, mate, nothing from my end. It's a great night of racing across the board, and yeah, can't wait for the next one. And I'm also very, very keen to for MotoGP to get underway.
Yes.
And especially IndyCar as well. I'm a massive fan of IndyCar now, and St. Petersburg's a great track, so it should be a cracker opener to the season.
Do not miss round 2 of the Formula One for the Yuki Ricardo round 2.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Less said about that, the better, but just tune in, folks. I think it's going to be crap. Everyone's worried about Horner versus Joss. That's nothing. No, I think the Danny Rick versus Yuki is going to be the story of the year.
Yuki Tsunoda, of course, for anyone playing along at home. Still a couple of weeks away from the next round of things like the Australian Superbike Championship and the World Superbike Championship, but and of course next weekend for the Shannon Speed Series, the week after for the Supercars. There's plenty to look forward to. Hope you enjoyed Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. As tough as it has been throughout the course of the day, I think getting in the booth tonight and having something at least to semi-focus on has done me the world of good. On behalf of Daniel Correa, all of the broadcast commentary and production team here, week 7 done. Crunch end is upon us. The business end of term 1 of the season. I can't believe we're saying that already. If you'd have said to me that this would be the end of week 7, turn around, blink once, I can't believe it. It feels like only 4 or 5 rather than 7. But yes, 3 weeks out from the end of season 16 for this club, term 1 of the campaign of 2024. And there's 3 more great seasons where that came from. There's a lot of interest with grain servers dropping, and also a lot of excitement around Mazzano and Portimao joining the iRacing server as well. We'll see some racing from those 2 tracks next term, no doubt. On behalf of the crew here, have a great weekend, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you, and look forward to your company for the final 3 weeks of the term starting Monday. Before that, of course, some daytime motorsport coming your way on Sunday. Straight up to the Formula One Grand Prix, essentially. Grab a couple of hours sleep and then jump up. Remember, Formula One is 4 a.m. Sunday morning, not Monday morning, 4 a.m. Sunday morning due to Ramadan. MotoGP 2 a.m. Monday morning. IndyCar straight after it at 3 a.m. So that works out very nicely for all and sundry. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll enjoy everything that's coming your way on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club in the weeks ahead. Don't forget, 3 great weeks of prime time entertainment still to come, but the Enduro is our first assignment. That's on Sunday. We'll see you then, 10 to midday Eastern Daylight Time. Until then, I'm Zach Caban. Have a great evening, everybody. That's the way we do it for now.